So, looks like we are live as usual. Let me double check. Welcome to um, a live discussion. And of course, we usually did these back in what 2020, and we stopped. And the reason why I'm doing this today, uh, to be to be honest, this wasn't contrived. Um, I don't get a notification for every single comment that pops up on my channel, but sometimes I do. And the screenshot that I've been sharing since I think what 2 days ago, um, as usual, comments like that um, do tend to rile people up, and this one was no different. Of course, when I have conversations that centers around some of what was, just shared in that comment, it gets people riled up, and there is a diversity of opinions, right? So let me just get to the comment, and then what I want to do as well is I want to read some of the responses on Instagram and on YouTube as well. So I posted the same post across our social media platforms, and there were some very diverse opinions um, on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well. So I'm gonna read the comment first, and then I'm gonna read some of the comments from people, their responses, their opinions, and then I'm gonna open the call lines, right? So you guys can actually come on live and just share your thoughts. I hope this will be productive. As well as, look, if your camera is not on, I'm sorry, it's mandatory. You cannot come on the live show if your camera is off. Of course, also we have to be respectful, right? Respectful. Yeah, we're not playing games today. If someone comes on and they're disrespectful, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to cut you off without remorse. So that's pretty much the ground rules right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read the comment, right, from the person, and I'm not sure who this person is. It was a anonymous account. Of course, most comments on YouTube are anonymous. You don't know who the person is. You don't know who is talking. I don't know the ethnicity of the person, the race. I have no idea. The name. Well, I don't even want to say the name just because I'm like, okay, let's not say the name. So the person commented on one of our videos entitled "An Asian Guy Said This to Me About Black People." So some of you guys might have seen that video. The video has 1.7 million views, so a lot of people saw it, and it was pretty much simply a video where I was recounting an experience I had after coming from overseas. I was in Vietnam, came to Japan, returned to Japan, and very late in the nighttime, and I saw this Asian guy that was crying hysterically. And I went over to him and had a conversation, and it pretty much progressed to him telling me about, asking me, like, I'm lucky that he was the one that I saw, because apparently Asians have these preconceived notions of black people. And he just pretty much just told me where he got information from, who taught him that, etc., etc. And the person that commented on that video in particular, which has a lot of comments, varying views, and the person said, "I've met some really nice black people in my life. The first time I was mugged was by three black guys who were thuggish. The nice guys that I've met are not thuggish. I see the culture on TV and music and notice the thuggish ones mimic. Unfair racism toward blacks does exist, but likewise with other minorities. It varies in intensity from place to place. But there's also a very big issue of thug culture in this community. Thug culture celebrities are probably what holds black people back the most. Return to traditional family values and, most importantly, Jesus, and do away with these celebrities and watch your communities grow." Now, the last paragraph I know you got a lot of people riled up, and I understand why, of course, because a lot of people, believe different things. And of course, you guys know I believe in Jesus. Of course, I'm a Christian, a very outspoken Christian at that, and I do concur with Jesus literally being the solution for most of the world's problems, all of the problems actually, if we follow his teachings. Right? People usually allude to just the reality of how some Christians who claim to be followers of Christ conduct themselves, and use that as the basis primarily for why Christianity should be, not you should not follow it, and you should not follow Christ. Of course, if we know the teachings of Christ, we know what he espouses, and it's about loving yourself, loving your neighbor just as yourself, treating others just as you would like to be treated, loving your enemies, all these things, just selflessness. So there's nothing within the gospel of Christ that should imbue any sort of hatred in anyone's heart if they understand the gospel. Now, I don't want to talk about this from that premise, okay? What I want to talk about is the idea that Black people help perpetuate the sort of negative stereotypes, the power of the media in also perpetuating said stereotypes as well. This sort of like thuggish or gangster, whatever image this person is speaking about. That's what I want to discuss in this discussion, right? We want to talk about that. And before I even get into it and allow you guys to come on and share opinions, the link is in the description down below, and I might pin it if I can in the comment section as well, so you can easily click on that and come on and share your opinion respectfully, and we can have a discussion. And hopefully, I don't know, maybe it can be productive. Maybe someone might just have an idea from this that might start some type of movement or change or something. I don't know, but I think there's much to be said, and I do have my take on it as well, and I will share that as well before we open the lines for people to come on. And I read this quote, and I think I might tweak it a little bit. It's not my quote, right? It never originated with me. And the person said that if you have something to say, and if you have something to say, right? And I'll tweak it a little bit to say, if there's something that's burning within your heart, and there's something that's deep within you that makes you uncomfortable so much so that if you don't speak it, right, if you remain silent, the sort of discomfort that you feel is unbearable for a long period of time, then you should speak that thing that's deep within you, the fire that's burning. And so if you have something to say, right, you really have something to say, and you don't say it, silence is a lie, right? So the person, I kind of butchered it a little bit because I'm trying to like change the original quote a bit. But if you have something to say, then silence is a lie, and I think that's something that's very profound. And I think a lot of people have things to say, and this is something that's very close to my heart, and I think I've attempted to talk about it before. And so when I saw this comment, and the person was talking about just their perception, their experience with Black people, clearly the person isn't Black, right? And there are different opinions, but I want to talk about, as the title says, right? It was really hard for me to come up with a title, so I just put something there. But the title of this says, "The Media and Black People's Influence on Black People." So the media, one, right? And then Black people as well, two. So I'm talking about the media's influence on Black people, as well as Black people's influence on Black people. And primarily, we're talking about media in the form of course, TV, whatever comes on TV, movies, TV shows, reality shows, whatever. And then, of course, music being media as well. And just talking about the impact of that and the influence of that on the Black community, and also the perception of the Black community the world over. On YouTube, we have over 120 comments on the initial post on the community tab, and I believe on Instagram we have over 70 comments as well, and they're diverse, and I'm going to read some of them right now, and then we'll just open the lines and I'll read some of the comments, then I'll share my view in relation to the media's influence on Black people, as well as Black people's influence on Black people, and just, I guess, our contribution in a sense to just some of the things that we face in our existence. So again, of course, I'm just sharing my thoughts. I'm using my platform to just express this, and I thought, I saw that comment, and I'm like, you know what? Hey, I guess let's just use this comment as a catalyst to just have a discussion, and that's what this is. So one of the comments says, I'm going to read a few of them maybe, so just bear with me for a second. I won't call the people's name. If you want to see the original post, you can always go to my YouTube community tab, check it out. You can also go to Instagram at the Black EXJP. Twitter, Facebook as well, to check the original post, and you can read through the tens of comments, the dozens of comments, I should say, that are there. So this person said, before even that, let me just read the whole thing. So this is a comment that I placed. I'll read the comment that I put over the screenshot, and then I'll read the comment again, and then I'll just read the comments from people who responded to what I posted. So I wrote, a commenter left this comment recently on the video that you can see from the screenshot, which is the video. An Asian guy said this to me about black people. What are your thoughts on this comment? Please leave your honest opinion below. I also want to do a discussion piece on what they have highlighted. If you want to hop on the panel, let me know. I'm thinking of 3 people other than myself. I'm just changing some of the words, preferably with varying views. I've had this conversation before offline, and people tend to get pretty riled up. It will be a live discussion, of course. And so I was doing a panel. Some people reached out to me, and some of them that wanted to come on were unable to do so. So I'm like, you know what? This might be better, because by doing a live stream, a live show like this, you guys can call in from right across the world and you can share your opinions. And I think it's easier to manage and just do it that way. So we're going to do that. And then again, of course, the comment, I guess, do I need to read it a second time? I guess maybe let me just go over it really quickly. Again, the person said, I've met some really nice black people in my life. The first time I was mugged was by 3 black guys who were thuggish. The nice guys that I've met are not thuggish. I see the culture on TV and music, and I notice the thuggish ones mimic. So, of course, the guys drawing a parallel, between those who appear to be thuggish, and of course, we understand what it means. Like, we don't need to get too nuanced with that. It's more so, of course, just the way someone dresses and just the sort of image that is promulgated through the media, by the media, and we know what that means. So I don't think we need to get too nuanced on that. So it's drawing a parallel and a contrast, of course, between the people that look, I guess, more studious versus those who look like, have the gangster persona or image and, the swag and all these type of things. So he said, I see the culture in TV and music, and I notice the thuggish ones mimic. Unfair racism towards black people does exist, but likewise with other minorities. So, of course, he's just, grouping the sort of racism that black people face along with other minorities as well. He's sort of like grouping that as pretty much as one. But of course, we know that that's not the case. But he continues and he says, or her, I'm not sure, that it varies in intensity from place to place. But we, of course, understand this to be true, because some of us in Japan or across Asia or in some other country that's different from your homeland, the experience that you have or your black experience in that place might be different from where you hail from. So that's also true. So the sort of intensity when it comes down to racism might it varies. Of course, we know this to be true. But there's also a big issue of thug culture in the community. So the person is saying one of the main reasons in their mind for what plagues black people is because of this thug culture. I guess the sort of glorification of thugs. Thug culture celebrates celebrities, are probably what holds black people back the most. So the person is saying, well, maybe this is a reason. They're not saying that this is definitively the reason why, but this, that might be one of the reasons why, or the reason why, or I guess the most influential contributor to our reality, I guess. Return to traditional family values, and most importantly, Jesus, and do away with these celebrities and watch your coming to grow. So this is this person's opinion, of course. And as you guys know, online, everyone has an opinion. Everyone has, something to say. The access to do something like this is very easy. Most of us live in, whether it's first or third world countries, it doesn't matter. Most people have an access to a cell phone, and you can just go live and you can do a video, you can make a TikTok, you can do whatever and just get your opinions out there. And, so it's just the way the world is. Everyone has a voice. And then, hey, freedom of speech is a thing. And hey, people can share their opinions, and we're individuals, of course, and it's just the way it is. So one person uses their voice for one reason, another person uses it for another reason. So hey, and of course on my channel, whenever someone leaves a comment, sometimes YouTube deletes it if it's really offensive. If not, it stays there. And usually, even if someone says something that I don't agree with, I leave it, because I'm like, hey, listen, we all have our opinion. So now here are some of the responses to that. Someone said, no, what's holding black people back is systemic racism. Not sure what ethnicity the guy who made the comment is, but the answer to what he's saying is no, right? Because he's saying, hey, this black thuggish glorification culture is probably what is holding black people back the most. So the person said, nope, that's not it. It is systemic racism. Moving on. This the next comment says, I'm going to read quite a few, maybe like a dozen of them. So bear with me. I'm not trying to rush this thing. I know it's late for some of you guys, but I'm not trying to rush this thing at all. I'm trying to cap it at 2 hours. Once I finish this, I should give my thoughts. Then we'll open the lines and give each person maybe a few minutes to share their thoughts, and we just move on to just try to like cycle through as fast as we possibly can. Again, the link is in the description down below, so click on that. One person at a time. I don't think I'm going to have more than one person up in the live at a time. So just one, not like 5 or 4. Another person said, I don't agree at all. It's impossible to minimize the black struggle to just so-called thug culture and mimicking celebs. That completely ignores all the systemic racism towards us and how unjustly we've been treated throughout history. Another person said, I think the commenter has a valid point. I hear in abundance of how the black community thinks outsiders should treat us, but I've never heard anything about how we as a community need to take personal responsibility for our own actions. More than representation, I think we need to care more about the quality of our character and our love toward people in our own community. Another person said, man, there's so much to unpack here, but I do slightly agree. Telling our stories was originally supposed to shine light on the issues we faced in our communities, but we have transitioned to glorifying it instead. And to tell a young black artist from these unfortunate circumstances to not take a deal which allows them to push their this narrative is tough. But also, we can't blame celebrities who when there is so much historical context that created our own neighborhoods. Then where do we add self accountability in there as well? So many layers. Another person said, 80% of crime is committed by 20% of any community. Unfortunately, the biggest export we have as Black Americans just so happens to be popular music with crime and sexuality as the subject matter. I can see why someone from outside of the community would think that this is a singular issue holding the community back. Not true, though. Most people, including Black people, that consume this music aren't affected anymore than someone watching an action movie filled with crime. The real issue is the lack of a male presence in most households. Let's start there, and I can explain the reasons behind most of the other issues that plague the community. Another view. What the guy failed to realize is that those guys who seem thuggish are only a product of their socioeconomic condition on which they can't control. If you are stereotyping, then you are part of the problem. Another person said, sounds like someone who doesn't know anything about Black people making a comment about Black people. Another person said, his bias and ignorance is showing. I'd be curious as to what his other posts are like, although I think I have an idea. The tough guy or thug being revered and mimicked has layers to it, and people like him seems to contribute to it. Another person said, Black people have lots of issues, but music is, in this case, gangster, quotes, hip hop, this is in brackets here, which ain't all hip hop. I'm a hip hop head, but don't listen to it. Ain't what's holding us back. That's ridiculous. We have socioeconomic problems that need serious solutions. I'll admit that the way Hollywood portrays us or some of the hip hop videos does not help the image of Black people, racism, etc. But to me, that ain't even our biggest issue. It's all about financial independence. The rest will follow. Another person said in response to the comment, no lies told. Another person said, I think this is true on some levels. There are other factors that go into play, but yes, the culture does hurt us more. Wait, but yes, the culture does hurt most of us in the end. Again, I'm going again. I have a few more comments, and I'm not rushing. I'm not rushing. If you're here, this is a live stream. You know, you can come back and watch it, but I'm really taking my time here. So the next one says, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, we have a few more actually. I might just do like half of this one. But this one says, y'all don't act like this man don't have a point. In my hometown and every city town, like it that have ever been, you can find members of our communities who seem to only know and portray what you see rappers like this portray. However, this dude doesn't need to be apologetic about anything he said because he ain't saying nothing wrong. Yes, the world has positioned itself as the enemy of black people and blackness, but we also sabotage our own selves to the point that it's part of the culture to hate yourself and your people, but act like you don't. So this was, quite something. Someone else says, it's a fact that we have problems in our community that are our own doing. If you can't see that, then you are the problem. So these comments now are from the YouTube community tab on this channel, just a few of them. It was over 100, so of course I'm giving you guys maybe like 9, 10 here. The first one that I just read are from Instagram. If you want to go over there and check and follow and all that good stuff. Another person said on the community tab on YouTube, one of the problems is that thug music gets pushed a lot in the US. The rappers that talk about positivity are unknown and don't get pushed as much, if not at all. Another person said, rappers and other black celebs sometimes come from poverty in the hood they grew up in. What the commenter calls thuggish is the type of lifestyle appearance that's prevalent in those areas. If you don't abide by the structure, you can be cast out. Much like in Japan, if you don't follow the rules or try to live in a way that's abrasive to others, you're not going to have a good time. We're much more similar than we think, and the only thing stopping deeper understanding is language. Another person said, a group of people don't just wake up one day and decide what their culture is going to be. A culture develops based on events and situations the people go through. No wonder the people who were enslaved had their culture stripped away and still deal with systemic racism struggle to retain family values, in quotes. Also, violence is a problem in all poor communities, regardless of race. Another person said, interesting to me as a white guy, I got into rap music more in the last 3 or 4 years and had never listened to any of it. But my main gripe with it is I can't relate with almost anything they talk about. Never done any drugs before. Never done any drugs besides alcohol and weed. Only ever held a gun maybe 4 times when I was hunting for pheasants as a little child, a little kid. Hearing a rapper talk about shooting and gangs. Hearing a rapper talk about shootings and gangs and hard drugs doesn't resonate with me in the slightest, even though I think the majority of people around me listen to predominantly rap while being white or Asian, and having a very similar upbringing, if not even more sheltered. The town I'm from has very few Black or Latino families. It's probably about 75% white, 20% Asian, so maybe that is a factor? Question mark. Another person said, who created the thug image? Who funded and supported the rappers' albums and labels? Question. I got 3 more comments here to read, and then I'll state just my 2 cents. Someone else said, I totally agree with this. It's usually us as Black people who destroy our own race, and it's sad, but it's hard to get my people to understand this. They always feel it's another race that's hurting us. And yes, as Black people, we've been through extreme slavery, but I also feel that that's always a occurring excuse for us which I don't like. I also feel that it keeps us extremely stagnant in some parts of the US. But all of us are not thuggish. Even if we have a look of a thug, it's sometimes just a cultural thing for us, especially tattoos. It's a big thing in Black culture that led back to ancient times. But once again, I definitely agree with the statement. Someone else said, are Black people held back? I know too many Black people from everywhere that are doing well. I know so many other groups that expletive up as well. So it's all swings and roundabouts. There's good and bad everywhere. Final comment. Of course, you can go and read the dozens of other comments that are there. Someone said, final comment. So do Italians have mafioso culture? Do Japanese have Yakuza culture? Do Chinese people have triad culture? Do Mexican people have cartel culture? Do white people have Ku Klux Klan culture? In brackets, yes, they do. So why is it that gang culture is pathologized to Black people, Why don't we judge Japanese people based on their delinquent and biker gang cultures? This post seems like pretense for internalized racist beliefs. So those are the, I don't know how many comments that was. Maybe I don't know, 20, maybe thereabout. But yeah, okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna share just a few things, and hopefully it will not take more than 5-10 minutes maximum for me to get into it. So again, the link is in the description down below, so you can just hop on the link, click on that, enter your name, and then you'll join one at a time. I give you guys a few minutes to share your thoughts, and then we can move on. And hopefully, this can be productive. Now, um, my take on the influence of media overall, you guys understand and already know my take on that, right? And that's one of the reasons why the Black Experience Japan came into existence, because of course it was a force to combat the prevailing narrative of Black people in the media. And of course, since last year 2020, like, there has been a proliferation of, other sources, telling stories and sharing and just doing stuff like that. Of course, Q, just, what transpired last year, and you guys understand. So this my the impetus was to just put Black people out there as they are, because I was trying to combat, of course, that was one of the reasons, what we see the prevailing narrative out there as Black people. So I understand that media is a big issue, and just as much as the media that's not run by Black people is an issue when it comes on to the way that Black people are viewed, not just externally but also internally as well. And we got to say, like, we know externally for a fact, if you've traveled anywhere across the world apart from where you're from, you'll realize that the image, and I was having a conversation yesterday as well, where this person, a woman, she said that, she has had experiences. A woman, I'm talking about women, she and another lady, two Black ladies were walking in Japan, and they saw, just Japanese women that saw them and started running. This one lady was on a bike, started to speed up, and she fell, from the bike. Another person was walking with her, a little girl, and they started running when they saw the two Black women walking, in the nighttime. And you might ask the question, like, why is that? Most of these people, if you have a conversation with them, you'll realize that, it's media. As I said, I've belabored the point over and over again that media, of course, if you've never met a person before, the perception that you have in your mind usually comes from the first contact that you have with that person. So whether it's in the physical, which most cases it isn't, when we're talking about external groups, it's more so through a screen, and maybe, third-hand information, from someone, second-hand, whatever, from someone else, their experience, they're telling you something, and you watch something, you read something, and then you form your opinion based on this. And of course, people might say, well, you should do research. Some people, most of us, like, it's like, hey, someone say something. How many people usually? Some people do. I think it's a small percentage overall that actually go and try to verify, right? Whatever it is they were taught, they saw. If it has nothing to do with them as an individual, if it doesn't jeopardize them as a person, usually most people will just, okay, they might just take whatever they've heard as true, right? Because it's not harming them. But if, of course, they were in jeopardy, then they would go and try to verify and say, well, hey, hold up. This isn't the case. But if you aren't affected, your friends and family aren't affected, then there's no real incentive for you to go and verify and see, is this true or not, right? When a person run away from a Black person, which it happens to me sometimes in Japan, and it really, it's not a good feeling. It really, like, it's not one of it's one of those things that, it kind of just, upset you a little bit when you see it, because you're just like, yo, like, y'all don't even know who I am, right? Or, I'm just a person, like, right? I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you're just like, yo, you understand that the perception that this person is operating from is such a falsehood, that, and it's so far away from reality, that I can't even find a word to describe how dumb, I perceive stuff like that, because I'm like, man, you're so far away from reality that it's like you're I don't want to, use certain adjectives right now, but it's one of those things. But anyway, so we understand how media works, right? So that happens. And in the same breath, right, just as how other people, external groups, respond a certain way to media, is the same way, because humans are humans, and every one of us were influenced by media. Every single person, okay? Every single person. I want to stress that again. Every single person that's watching even this video right now, this live stream, is influenced by media. It doesn't matter your IQ. It doesn't matter the depth of your experience or the breadth of your experiences. Every person. This is one of the reasons why on YouTube, advertisers pay so much money to appear on popular channels and on the videos and stuff like that because of the influence of media, right? Whether it's, and this is why celebrities get paid so much to advertise whatever beverage, whatever product, whatever it is. It's not because people don't pay these copious amounts of money just because they want to just waste their advertising budget. There is a reason why they pick certain celebrities and they give them certain things, right? You guys know this. Advertisement is is deep, and you guys know this. It's come on, right? Even if we just explore this idea on the surface level, we understand why. Why am I going to give you, whatever amount of money, to advertise, my camera or my this or my that? Because you understand that there will be a ROI. You understand there will be a return on your investment because of the influence of the person, the platform, the whatever it is that you're giving the money to advertise, whatever it is you have to advertise. Is the exact same thing. And every single one of us, we might say, well, we might even object to the idea consciously because we're like, nah, bro. But subconsciously, trust me, you can do the research yourself. Every one of us are impacted by this. The moment something makes its way into media, the moment something makes its way online, already you see something that you never seen before, you're being influenced by it. You might even be thinking, oh, yo, I got to do something like this. I got to do whatever, stuff like that. Like someone sees a video, someone sees something already. We got people copying left, right, and center. It's like people can't help themselves. It's just the way people are. Well, most people, right? They can't help themselves. They see something already, are being impacted by it. Already. Oh, snap, I got to get that camera. Oh, I got to get that shoes. Oh, I got to get that car. Oh, I got to. Especially with social media now, we see all the things that we're bombarded with. People feel depressed with their own lives because of someone else's life that is being broadcast online somewhere. Every single person. And music is no different. Movies is no different. Yes, maybe the vast majority of people might not go out and actually act out what they see in movies or listen to in music and stuff like that. But in every group, we have people that are weak. In every group, we have people that are in a sort of circumstance that makes it easier for them to just latch onto a certain idea and move with it, to mimic what they've seen. Not everyone, it might not be you, it might not be me, but there are people who these things have a profound impact on that actually go out and do it. And the question that I would ask is, this is my take. And the thing is, I was had a conversation yesterday and it made me really think about just my stance on music in particular, because I'm a lover of music. And I realized that wow, back in the day, I was really interested in music, and my parents weren't a big fan, especially my mom, because I did like like rap songs and dancehall. Because of course, well, some of you guys might know, well, I'm Jamaican, so I loved music. I would write songs and would add CDs. I was a part of a group, blah 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 blah. And I was thinking yesterday, I'm like, snap, yo, I also have songs that glorified violence. Like I have songs like that, right? And I'm just like, yo, what was the motivation for me to do these songs? Of course, like those songs, y'all will never hear any of those songs ever. Um, and I'm like, yo, what motivated me? Because most of what I was talking about, I never did. And then people could say, well, of course, I grew up in an inner city community in Jamaica, and of course, I've seen people, dead people, all sort of stuff. It was very very frequent, right? But I never did any of those things, right? And then you think about the art form, and usually the way that we would look at it, some people would say, well, I'm actually sharing just things that go on in the community or whatever, or just my life. And then you're like, well, not really. They're like, well, even if it's not me that did whatever it is, someone else did it, and I'm just sharing their story. I'm giving them a voice. Like, but I'm like, bro, like, there's a difference between documentation and glorification. I'm pretty sure that all of us understand that concept. And the thing, when we were writing songs back then, it was more so you're trying to be the most lyrical person possible. You're trying to be the most descriptive of the most gruesome act possible. You're trying to almost one up another person, right? Even if you're in battles or whatever, you're freestyle, whatever you're doing, you're trying to be as creative as possible, and and as descriptive as possible. Just whatever act it is, and the more descriptive you are, the more response you get from people that listen to the song. And but at the same time, I'm like, none of these things promote life. And why some of my biggest inspirations at that time were some of the artists who spoke about these things. And because of course I love music, and I like people that are really lyrical and really talented, and I'm looking and I'm like, oh snap, okay, this person is really good. And because that person was one of my influences, I started writing songs that were similar to what that person would DJ about or rap about or whatever. And so were the other people around me as well. And even now I have family members who are very, very gifted, who are pursuing this thing, and they might actually become a name out there, a household name at some point in the near future. And they sing songs that really glorifies violence. And I'm just like, I'm trying to talk to the person, but at the same time I'm like, yo, Ranza, you were doing these type of songs, and it was simply because it's what I heard, it's what I saw. And it's so crazy, like when I think about it, I'm like, yo, I can't even really talk about this part, because I'm like, wow, bro, like I'm like, yeah, I actually, so it was one of those things that really, really kind of just hit me. And the problem with that is we do things that have a profound impact on so many people around us, and we have no idea the impact of some of the things that we do. And as humans, if you think about it, our very nature is to mimic, right? When a new baby is born, they mimic the people around them. That's how you acquire your language. All these things, like just your behavior, everything. Like we are like sponges. Kids are like sponges. Our environment plays such a big role on us. It is intellectually dishonest for any of us to say that there isn't correlation between just the things that you take in, the things around you, and just the way you operate, and the way that you carry yourself. So my thing is, I guess what I would like is, hopefully most of us will come to a place where we understand that certain things do not promote life, doesn't promote growth. It doesn't promote anything positive, because when I'm listening to some of the songs, and sometimes I hear those songs, I'm like, yo, these songs are, yo, this person, yo, this is bad, yo. Like back in the day when I used to listen to those things, right? And you listen to it, and I know people, of course, they listen to the song and it puts you in a certain mood, a certain zone, right? And some of the people that would go and do stuff that's whatever illegal stuff, or do certain things, they would listen to a certain type of song that gave them that energy, and got the adrenaline flowing and stuff, and then they would just hop in the car and just go wherever, whatever the case is. So I'm like, there is a connection. And I'm like, okay, if we could turn around those messages, you get what I'm saying? If we could use media more positively, what would the outcome be? It's a question. It's a question. Of course, everyone has their opinion. Everyone will do what they want to do. But the question is, what if those songs weren't about going down the street and executing John, right? What if the song wasn't about talking about all the different weapons that you have, and how you did this and how you did that and all these things? What if it wasn't about that? Or selling this amount of drugs, and hey, making this money, and this is the way you live, and this and all these things? Like, what if it wasn't like that? What if we spoke about something as a promoted life? What if we taught people, how to like make money, right? How to be decent humans? Like, what would the difference be? And a lot of people would say, well, this is what sell and that's what sell. But I beg to differ. So I'm just my thing with media overall, that we partake in as Black people overall, is what if we change some of the things that we put out? What if it was more positive for those who are putting out the things that are negative? You might not be one of them, right? So I might not be talking to you specifically. But what if we change what we wrote about? And I'm from Jamaica, right? You guys have heard about Jamaica, I'm sure. And I'm from like one of the most notorious communities in Jamaica. I know personally some of the most notorious people, or knew. So like I know for a fact in Jamaica, there's a lot of look. Yes, I'm Jamaican. I'm not trying to just say look, there's a lot of great things about Jamaican people, right? But at the same time, glorification of violence is a thing. People like that. People like Badman, but yeah, like, it's a thing. Even people who have no business or no experience are pretending to be because hey, and if you're not that type of person, then you might not get the respect that every human deserves and it's glorified. So people want to be perceived that way. Not everybody, but a decent percentage of the populace. And I'm sure it's not just Jamaicans alone or in Jamaica. And of course, people also talk about the fact that we usually group black people in this sort of like monolithic ball to say, okay, all black people are this. And of course, that's not the case because the African diaspora is extremely diverse. You got the continent of Africa, you got the Caribbean, you got North America, you got Europe, you got all over the place. You got South America, we're everywhere. But it's the media. Media is extremely powerful. And that's why some people think the black experience is monolithic. Why? Because the way media packaged it and it, put it out there. Or the media platform that you're watching. But look, I know I can speak from I've lived in a few countries and I know in Jamaica, like violence, people glorify it. And people always find ways to explain it. Listen, this is what I've lived when I know that's not the case. You never lived it. Well, it's what John Doe down the road lived, and I got to tell their story. But there's a different way to document it. Like a really good artist, and this is an example of, and even though he has some songs where there's one or two things that he says that, but he's very, very talented. You guys have heard about Toby, right? Maybe, of course, the African guy in America. His last name is just I'm sorry, I can't pronounce this. I'm not even gonna try. Someone can write it in the comment. And of course, he's very, very lyrical. He's a very, very talented artist, and he's able to convey. And it's not just him, of course. There's many people who are able to convey and document what actually transpired in their neighborhoods without actually glorifying the act itself. And I think it's a cop out. I really think it's a cop out for us to say, well, listen, man, I'm just saying whatever. I'm like, okay, you did it, cool. Don't like unless you want other people to see this as something to mimic. Why do you present it in a way that's so beautiful to people? Oh, this is what I did. Okay, well, before it's almost like a testimony. Before I was in jail for this amount of time. I did this and like learn this lesson. Da, da, da. Of course, I don't want you to follow in my footsteps. But if I'm gonna present it almost like it's something to be desirable. Young kids, people are going to be influenced by it, and there's no way around it. And I some of the conversation that I've heard from people who are very influential, it's like they literally do not want to take any responsibility whatsoever at all, in the sense of it's the parents' role to raise their child, their children. Look, I'm just an artist. I'm creative. I'm just I'm just trying to like I just express, just speak my thing. Like that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make my money, do my thing, whatever the case is. And it's crazy how, at the same time, we talk about freedom of speech, right? So it's like, okay, so we're not trying to muzzle anybody. Of course, I don't want anyone to be muzzled. I don't want people to try to muzzle me either, right? So if you want to speak freely, I should be able to speak freely as well. It's just the way it is. But it's like the lack of responsibility or accountability is crazy because we seem to not understand the impact of just media, the same way how media is used to besmirch the image of the global black community. It's the same way that media as well, is used in a way that influences black people as well. And there are some of the comments, you guys can read them, like some of them touch on some things. There are certain things that black people think that they won't even say publicly because they fear that they will be ostracized. They're like, well, I can say this here, but hey, I can't say this online. They will tear me to shreds, kind of vibe. And there's many things, there's a lot of things. But I just want to, I've used all those words to simply say, what if we truly documented versus glorified? What if we did that? What if we use all the avenues that we have available where we see this, the negative images, right, being portrayed? What if we were able to change that as an experiment, just a social experiment, just an experiment, just to see what would happen? What if we did that? What if we tried to, like, some of the things that we see that we know we would not want to happen to us or our family members? We were playing a song that's saying something about someone else because you're not connected to them. You don't care. But if it was your brother, your mother, your father, your son, whoever, then it's a problem. You'd be bawling. We'd be bawling. We'd all be sad. But because it's just some stranger that you don't know, it's like you're just, you're just, yeah. So what if we were able to switch that and did something more productive, something that promoted life, something that promoted advancement in some way, that taught people something that they could actually apply in their own lives to actually realize a similar level of success or something like that? What if we switched it a little bit? What would happen? And when will we be or stop being intellectually dishonest and saying there's no impact, like media has no impact? The same way that media influences the perception of black people globally is the same way that media influences young people to do things that they see, things that are perceived as cool. And that's why fashion trends. People that get maybe a certain type of tattoo, you see everybody doing it, then you just feel like you might even have a PhD, 10 degrees, and you feel like you're so learned, but yet you're still influenced by that Instagram picture. So you get the same tattoo. Oh, you get the same hairstyle. Oh, you got the same shoes. Oh, you got the same car. Oh, you got the same this. Oh, you start talking the same way. Oh, you start making videos the same way. It's like, it's crazy how the reality is so different from what people say. Because we're saying that, listen, it doesn't matter, but yet still, the evidence is there. It's like, someone said, I don't like yellow, but the man is wearing like a full-blown yellow suit, and it's like, bro, I've never worn yellow in my life. I'm like, bro, like, do you see what you're wearing, dude? Anyways, I think I went over my time. Let's see. I'm not even sure if anyone is on. I might be just talking to myself because I'm actually on the document here looking at this, and I'm not on the platform. Again, if you want to come on and share your thoughts, please, the link is in the description down below. Please click on it. Come on. Your camera has to be on. If you're going to be an anonymous person, I'm sorry. I will not give you the platform to share whatever it is you want to share. If you're coming on, your camera needs to be on. If you don't have a camera and you have something valid to say, I apologize. It's mandatory. And please be respectful, because if you aren't, I'm going to have to bid you a good evening. Okay, let's see if there's anyone that's on. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have, okay, there's a bunch of comments here. Okay. So the link again is let me just drop the link in the description so you guys can click on this link and hop on and share your thoughts. Look, this is simply, we're having a discussion. I'm not saying this thing is going to change the world or anything, but we're having a conversation, and hopefully, we can talk about it. This was what? Oh, 47 minutes. Okay, I guess not that bad. So that's the link right there. If you want to come on, I'll give you guys a second. You can click on the link. All you gotta do is click on the link and up on, and we can have a conversation. I'll just let you talk about what it is that you want to talk about. On topic, of course. I'll give you like maybe 5 minutes or so. And that's it. And again, I'm not talking about just listen. I'm talking about just music overall. I'm talking about the portrayal in media overall that we control. I'm not talking about what other people have control over, right? I'm talking about what we willingly participate in. And it's not just, I'm not talking about rap music. Listen, I'm a Jamaican. We understand dancehall music. There's a lot of stuff that's said in dancehall music. People in Africa, in different countries, have their different music as well. People in Europe have different music. People everywhere, different music overall. So this is not just a hip hop or a rap thing, or this is not just like an American thing or a Jamaican thing, or it's like European thing, African thing. It's all over. What I'm talking about, literally, there's no single country that is affected by this. It's everywhere. So if you want to come on and talk about that, now is the time to use the link that I just shared. Let's see. Just a minute. Okay, so we got Sam. So I'm gonna let Sam just hop on right now. I won't even waste any more time. Here we go.
Peace. Peace.
I can't hear you. Is my mic?
Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. I don't got my headphones. Hold on 1
I
second.
can't hear you.
Yeah, hold 1 second.
Okay. So wait, did you guys hear Sam just now, or is it me? Because I can't hear his voice. I'm wondering if it's. I think the mic should be okay. Oh wait, you know it actually might actually be my thing. Hold up. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so it was me actually. It wasn't actually Sam.
Let me see if
Okay.
we can get this.
I can hear you now. Sorry, Sam. I can hear you. Okay, now your camera is off. Sam,
Yeah, I'm here.
I can. Okay. So your camera is off. So can you turn on back your camera, please?
Yeah, it's on. Hold on. Let me see what's going on.
I'm seeing back.
Oh, okay, cool. Hold on. I don't know how you. This is the first time I've been on this with you, so
I know.
I know
you were on. Yeah, you were on just now. I saw you when you came on first. The camera was on, but now it's off. It's like pitch black, like you're in a dungeon or something.
Hold on. Let me just figure out, Brethren. Let me just figure out. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, no problem, man.
I don't know why it's not letting me. You're on the show. Everyone can see you, hear you, but you can't see me. Let me see what's going on here. Why is because on it actually shows that the camera's on.
Okay, I wonder if you did you change your device? Well, I guess you never changed your device. Did you change the device just now or what?
No. What happened was that a sign came up to say if I wanted to
give permission.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why. Okay,
should I go out of it? Should I leave and come back in?
Yeah, do that, like really quickly. Okay, yeah. So no, like guys, as I said before, I want whoever's talking, I want the person's image to be there. So I'm not just gonna so this is not 2020, it's 2021. So we're doing things differently today. Okay, if there's I saw that another person came on. Okay, there's Sam. Okay, Sam. Oh, here we go. Yes. What's their take?
Can
Sam?
you hear me? Well, I can't hear you now. You sound like you in slow motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even now?
Yeah, you sound like you talking slow.
Okay, just share. Trying. Okay, just share your thoughts then, because I want to hear from you now.
Hold on. This is crazy. Let me leave. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to leave and come back again. Hold on.
Oh, okay. All right. So we see who's this?
Let me leave. I'm sorry.
I'm Ray.
Oh, okay.
All right, hey. So, okay. Yeah. So yeah. What's their take?
Let me leave. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Because I cannot hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Do you have headphones by energy? No?
Give me like 1 second.
Do you have headphones by energy?
Give me like 1 second.
Yeah, the thing is you're playing YouTube, that's all right. But the things I understand, you need the headphones so that because I'm hearing myself. So guys, of course, look, this is the way it is. It's technical difficulties. Listen, it's fine. It's fine. Just chill out, right? Okay. Listen, it's fine.
Can you hear me now?
Just chill out, right? Okay. Listen, it's fine.
Can you hear me now?
Just chill out, right? The thing is the device that you're watching YouTube on,
Yeah.
the audio needs to be playing through your headphones. It's still playing through the speaker.
the thing is,
So there's a loop. So
your
I
watch
think your Bluetooth headset isn't
all of
connected.
this be playing through your headphones. It's playing through the speaker. The thing is, there's a loop. So I think your Bluetooth headset isn't connected.
Give me like 1 minute and I'll come right back. But I just wanted to say
Okay.
something real quick, okay?
Okay. Okay, so we're having some technical difficulties. That's just the way it is. Listen, it's it's social media, of course, and it's a lot to get used to. Of course, if you haven't done this before, it's like you got to like know how to do certain things, and sometimes the program might be different, the software might be different, so it's just the way it is, right? And we're doing this in real time, so we're not doing this. I don't have like a lineup of people and stuff like that. So Sam, if you want to come back on again, and we can come back on. And I saw there was like two more people in addition to Ray just now. So if you want to come on and give your 2 cents. Now is the time, right? So yeah. So there's a bunch of comments actually. I saw that when I came on, there was like 106 comments. I wasn't reading comments. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Okay, second attempt. Okay.
um, Good evening. I guess it's good morning, good afternoon for you guys. I don't know. It's good night for us over here in New York. Um, One thing I really wanted to make. Where did he go? Where did he go? Where did he go? Oh, okay, cool. Can you hear me? All right. One thing I really wanted to make a point about, and then I'll jump right off, is how is it that people can still be ignorant to the world around them? It's it is not fair. It is not fair for yourself, for you to not educate yourself on how it is in this world. Truly, because you can't tell me that you have one biased look on how black people are. Like when I was reading that comment section on the previous video, it seemed almost as if like, what black people are you meeting? What is this? Because that's not me. That's not you. That's not my friends. That's not people who I've grown up with. Like, imagine if I were to say, and I kind of made a comment recently in the comment section. Imagine if I were to really sit there and say that, oh, okay, well, all Asians, wear a conical hat and they sit there with a bowl of noodles. Like, imagine how nonsensical that would sound. Or imagine if I were afraid of all Asians. That what? No. What are you doing? No. We need to be better than this. Stop. For real.
Well, what do you think? Like for instance, because some people say they don't want to seek out information because it's like well, because usually when as humans sometimes we don't seek things out unless there's a direct benefit to us or maybe people around us. So like, can you hear me?
It is looping real bad because I'm hearing you and then I'm trying to stop it on YouTube so that I can hear you. But every time I
Okay.
stop it on YouTube, I can't hear you on StreamYard, which is strange. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I
Oh, I
think you
can hear
should
you
pause.
now.
Okay, good. Yeah. What
Oh,
what would you say about like people who would say like because the thing is sometimes if we put ourselves in someone's shoes, right? It's like
mhm.
because some people, I guess, it doesn't affect them, right? So they're like, why should I even go out and educate myself when, hey, listen, I'm living fine, I have no problem with whatever. So they just take whatever information that they received and they're like, okay, this is reality. I'm moving with this because it has no adverse effect on their own lives. Like, how do you think? Like, yeah, what do you think about that?
Personally, because I live in the States, I live here in the States. If I were to, and because of the city where I live, where it's a big melting pot where I live, I can't go to my fellow neighbor, my fellow next door neighbor, or my friend and say that, oh, okay, well, I read such and such about your type of people. I should be afraid for the rest of my life, or I should have some type of a negative connotation towards you. That would be very ignorant and rude for me, especially if they were to be the I guess the foreigners in my home country. They would not feel welcome. There's a whole thing, like even last year up to what maybe this morning I saw a recent commercial about Asian Asian hate, stop Asian hate, right? That's not fair for us to have to adhere to the rules of your society, but when you flip the script now, you can't do it for us. No, what is this? No. Why are we still doing that?
Um,
No.
I see what you're saying.
Do you see where I'm
Okay,
going with
okay.
this? It's not
Mhm.
fair. That's very ignorant and maniacal in a way for people to think like that to this day with such a diverse amount of media and data that we have. For example, and I hate when people make this comparison, but I'm gonna just throw it out there. For some odd reason, we still have advertisements thinking that people in Africa are all living in like like on a desert eating giraffes and lions. Okay, I'm being very dramatic right now. You
Mhm.
understand? Right, but I know plenty of Africans. I know plenty of different people, and what? No, that is not the society. It's what media is really portraying to you. Like, educate yourself, guys. Come on, that's not cool, and it makes you look very, very not well versed. It comes off in a way like you're speaking from emotion versus off of logic.
What's your take on like the music and movie in terms of our willing participation, like in terms of the negative things that are portrayed? What do you think about that and the potential impact on the community within and without?
Within and without.
Yeah, meaning like 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 some of the songs that are mimicked by maybe the younger generation, and then maybe well, I guess we spoke about the external influence, but what about within the community? So things that we, well, not we, but some people glorify, right? Like violence and different type of lifestyles and stuff like that. What do you think about that and the impact on just the younger generation? Like, do you think there should be a level of accountability at all, or what's your take on that?
Def- I mean, don't come for me, y'all, but I do believe that we do have to have a level of accountability.
But okay, you see that?
Accountability.
Wait. You see what you just did right there? That same thing that you did when you said, "Don't come for me, y'all." That's
Yeah,
the
like
thing
don't
that
come for me.
happens. No, no. What I mean is that offline, people say all sorts of stuff, right? But once we're in the public, we're like we're scared now because we're like, oh snap! If I say anything that's not the agreed upon narrative, I'm going to be lambasted, and that's a thing where it's like there's a public persona of the things that we should say, and then offline we say different things.
I,
so that so,
it,
so you understand it very well because of what you just said.
I see what you're going with this, but just hear me out for why I'm saying what I'm saying. Now, I grew up in a society like where I was told that it takes a whole village to raise a child. If this whole village is doing one thing and we're thinking it's the right thing, but in actuality, it's not right, the following generations, our children are going to grow up doing that wrong thing. And it's going to be wrong. It's going to twist their minds. You understand? I understand that a lot of people glorify drugs, uh, other adult acts, okay, and alcohol. You understand? We, or especially our elders, we need to actually be more of a voice and step in and start talking to other people. I mean, so like trying to teach them to rear end that and trying to reverse that culture so we can grow up in a different way, not just highly glorifying what Hollywood says or what what our agency or what our manager says. Like that's not the right way, you guys. We've been doing that for quite some time. Do you see where it's leading us? No.
Yeah, I think something that came into my mind just now is that maybe if we rewarded the more positive acts and depictions and stuff, maybe that would I guess encourage more people to be more vocal and put out more content and stuff that's positive. It's quite problematic that most of us gravitate as people, humans overall, gravitate toward negativity for some reason. It's like you wanna, for whatever reason, whatever that is. So I think if we rewarded, and I think it's an individual thing, right? So it's like, okay, do I contribute to funding certain industries or this or that in my own life? And I think that maybe that's something that we all should think about, to see if we're actually indirectly promoting certain things as well. But thank you so much, Ray, for your time. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful night. What state are you in?
I'm in New York, so I'm out here in New York City right now, actually.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
nice. All right, take care. Good night.
All right.
Okay, Sam.
Big up.
Big up.
Big up. Oh, respect now. Respect, dude. You can hear
God
me
bless you.
clearly now.
I can. Looking good,
Sin,
sounding
sin,
good, all is well.
sin. Respect, respect. Uh, I just want to say peace to the young sister that was just speaking with you. I'm from New York City, so big up to New York City and everything. But I'm here in Sydney, Australia, and everything.
Okay.
Yeah. You and I've chatted online a couple times just over the last couple of years. I've always linked into your show for about 2-3 years now. I think I'm going into my third year with you, maybe.
Okay.
So anyway, so I just want to let all due respect to you, Benjamin, because you do some great things and you bring great awareness of Black people from all around the world there in Japan. So I've been aware of your show for a while. I share it. I let other people know, not just people of color. I try to tell everyone, you need to check my man's show. He's got some great people on there from different backgrounds, different educational backgrounds, not just education, but some of the people who live in Japan before you came who are doing quite well. So I just, even now I got in contact with brother Brooklyn there with the haircut because of you.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna
Good
bring
stuff.
my son through when I come to Japan. I told Brooklyn, I said, look, I'm coming to your shop. I'm bringing my son next summer once the doors open and
Mhm.
everything. I said, if they let us back in, hopefully I'll be there next summer. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Try to
Good
catch
stuff,
you
bro.
too somewhere in Japan, but you be all over the place. So, but
All right,
anyway,
man.
I just wanted to first show my respect to you, Benjamin, and everything. You know. Is there any questions you? I mean, because I came in the conversation only the last I think 20 minutes, so I can only speak on what I heard. Something in accordance with violence, speaking about violence on vinyl or on record or whatever it may be. And you mentioned something about you used to do a few
Yeah.
chats back in the day.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I had a few songs and stuff as a part of a group and stuff. Well, no one will ever hear those.
Sin.
So yeah, some people might have them now and they might try to, but yeah, I don't do that
In
anymore. Um,
in Jamaica, Canada, where?
Jamaica, and I did some performance in Canada too and stuff like that. But that's a former life, so I don't want to talk about that. But the thing is, but the comment. This is what the live stream is about, right? So someone commented on a video that I did, right? The video was entitled "An Asian guy said this to me about black people," because I had this chance encounter in Shinjuku in Tokyo,
Yeah, I
right?
know Shinjuku. Yeah.
This Asian guy was balling. So I saw him and I think I'm a decent person. So I'm like, bro, like, I know that suicide is a problem. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can intervene and help this guy, whatever it is he's facing. So I went over and spoke to him. And then, long story short, he was saying to me, I'm lucky because he's the one that I went up to because apparently he's trying to educate me now that Asian people see black people are very dangerous and violent and stuff like that. So I'm like, yo, where did you hear that from? And then he's like, well, hey. So he told me that his personal encounter was that, well, I don't mean to bring this up, but he said a white person that taught English in China where he lived was the one that actually taught him that. So that's what he said. These are his words, not mine. So someone that watched that video of that encounter and the exchange and how the guy's mind was changed afterwards, because I was trying to help him. So the next day, the following day, he sent me a text on my Instagram message, just telling me, sorry for just the way he was. And I pretty much changed his perception because I clearly a real life black person, not some sort of like caricature, right? I'm a real person. So this is
Yeah.
what this person said. The person said, I've met some really nice black people in my life. The first time I was mugged was by three black guys who were thuggish. The nice guys that I've met are not thuggish. Right? I see the culture on TV and music, and I noticed that the thuggish ones mimic. Unfair racism towards black people does exist, but likewise with other minorities. It varies in intensity from place to place, but there's also a big issue of thug culture in this community. Thug culture celebrities are probably what holds black people back the most. So this person is trying to say, well, the music TV shows, that's maybe one of the main reasons why black people are held back, because the glorification of violence in the music and just that sort of portrayal. So what do you think about that? And not just from his point of view, just the fact that, do you think there's any correlation between what we put out that we control, right? I'm not talking about what the other media put out that we can't control, but the music that we do, and also the shows and stuff that we create that has a negative bent to it. Because I believe every piece of media is influential. Every book, every video, every song has an impact and has an influence. Like, what do you think personally? What's your take on that? I know it's very controversial. Like, it's always heated.
Look, it is what it is, man. Me personally, growing up in New York City since a kid, I've seen it all. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, when as a song, what is it? A child is born with no state in mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're a child and you have influences around you, those influences, even if they negative, can convert you to being positive. It's up to you if you got great mentor, because sometimes parents see you from one perspective. Like, I mentor the youth here in Australia, right? How their parents deal with them is different than how I'm gonna deal with them, because the parent's job is to feed you, bathe you, you know what I'm saying, provide, whatever a parent needs to do. I'm a parent, so I understand that. But as a mentor, I'm going to do what was done to me as a kid. I'm going to rap to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to teach you right from wrong, but it's up to you to use that right or wrong, it's up to you as as a child. It's like you tell your child, don't put your finger in that socket, and you explain why, and they go back and do it again. You might have to smack their hands to let them know, don't do that again. So one of the things we have to do is sort of teach our kids the consequences of their actions. So what's happening is that when we hear something that is influencing us in a negative way, if not our parents, we should have a mentor to explain what's the consequences behind that. When I was growing up in New York as a kid, my grandmother I grew up with my grandmother, when I turned 12, 13, she couldn't spank me the same way she spanked me when I was 6. So she had to find other ways for me to see the reality of the streets and where you would go with the consequences. And that was a show called Scared Straight. Scared Straight? You watched that a couple times. I knew right away I didn't want to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like something came in my mind to go, nah, you don't want to do that. But a lot of times when we growing up as kids, and it's here in Australia too, sometimes with the media, when they put out an image, we feel as though we need to live up to that image. And so it could be in school, it could be on the streets. Usually it's between school and the streets. You know what I'm saying? And if you grew up for me, I'm a 70s kid. So we were allowed to leave the house 6, 7 years old. And as soon as you step out the house, you didn't go far. But if you went to the schoolyard, there was other kids out just like you. And they were challenging you. Like, yo, what's up, man? Whatever the image was for as a little boy. Then you go into school, you got to deal with other kids. Maybe some of the kids from around your way, other kids from another area. But they all come together, and you got to stand your ground. And if you don't stand your ground, the first thing they're going to do is call you a punk. You get these derogatory words, and your boys will go, they'll laugh at you if you've been punked. So you have to learn how to be tough. And that toughness can direct you to being like, just leave me alone, or you know what? I'm going to start being tough and being a bully And then that bulliness can turn into being a thug, because then you're starting to see other big people who are thugs, who are tough in the street, and you be like, yo, I want to be like him. Yo, he's tough. Or matter of fact, he got money, he got the girls. So the influence can play a big part. But then again, if you got a good mentor, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're a father. So you're going to teach your son right from wrong. But you got to have some uncles around them too. You know what I'm saying? Because he's going to be like, Dad, I don't want to hear you no more. When they turn, they don't. They're going to look you in your face and be like, nah, that wasn't me. Whatever it may be. So it's good to have other uncles, other people to pull them aside, take them out, rap with them, find out what's going on, so that the kids realize that they have support from other people to help guide them. A lot of youth, we don't have it in the streets. We don't have a lot of support, because we know from slavery, going back to when the Portuguese first took the first Africans, out of Congo, taking them over to South America, Brazil, they started to break up. They started to break up our family units, because no matter if you're from Jamaica or Haiti or America, all of our ancestors at one time, for us to survive as a people, I'm just breaking this down just quickly, is that your father, let's say we lived in an indigenous part of Africa, or we lived as indigenous Africans. Your father, my father, if we are hunting, we got to teach the next generation, we got to teach the boys. This is how you hunt. This is how you go out. So the fathers were always there. If it's not the fathers, it's the uncles, it's the grand. Everyone's got to go out and hunt. So we have to be together. Now, in the Western world, it's all been pulled apart. And because it's been pulled apart, because through slavery, we're almost like at a point where we're trying to rebuild. We want to rebuild, but they keep throwing drugs, guns, more drugs, new guns. So they keep putting all these things in our face to keep us disoriented. So when you have the media putting out derogatory, negative images of us, and that's all we see, and then you get like that young man, or you got that young dude saying he got mugged by, you can get mugged by anybody. I got mugged by, I'm from New York, I got mugged by white boys, Puerto Ricans, like, if you in the wrong place at the wrong time, and somebody wants something off you, they're gonna get it. So the stereotypes is people live in their own little worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're lucky, yourself and myself and other people of color who've been able to leave and travel overseas and see the world. We're more open-minded than the person sometimes when we go to that country. Because if that person in that country's never been anywhere, they don't know, they only know what they've seen. If you didn't leave Jamaica, all you would know is Jamaica. You'll know the surrounding islands, but you might not know what it's like to go to London or Canada, or you've been to camp. Oh, it's cold. This is completely different weather from Jamaica. So when you go into a country where people have only seen you through a box or through a screen or newspaper, I find it, educate them as best as you can with whatever little knowledge you have. When I first started traveling, let me know if I'm talking too long. I just want to break down.
No, it's good. It's good.
All right. When I left New York in 1993, I was rapping, I was working, I was dancing. I was a professional hip hop dancer for a very long time in New York City. I worked in music videos. I was on my way. I was starting to record. I was starting to slowly put myself in the right position. But New York started to change. And I was like, yo, I'm out, B. I'm going to LA. So I went out to LA, chilled for a couple of years there. And leaving New York and going to LA is like, woo. It's a whole different state of mind you gotta be in. But after that, my man from the Bronx, he was like, yo, Sam, come out to Norway. This is 94. And I was like, bet, what's up? He's like, yo, come and teach with me in Norway. Yo, it's popping out here. So I got in a plane and I went to Norway. Now, remember, I just left LA where cops will stop you at the drop of a dime. You know, New York, I didn't really get, New York, for me as a black man, I didn't really get bothered by police a lot. Like I did a little bit, but nothing like I did in LA. LA, you just be walking. Woo! What are you walking for? Where you going? Got ID? A lot of times I'm pretty chill. I'm like, yo, here's my ID. Like, I'm not one to fight you. I'm like, I got things to do. Here's my ID. I'm from New York. I'm here. I just got here. A lot of times when you straight with the cops, no attitude, you speak straight as a man and be honest, they'll let you go. Every time they stop me, I'll say, yo, my man, I'm from LA. I'm from New York. I'm out here. I'm an entertainer. I'm doing my thing. Okay, cool. I never pull away. I do all that. You know, I just always speak straight. I'm not one to, I don't got time for it. You know what I'm saying? One time we got guns pulled out on us. A group of us. Police pulled us all out the car. I just looked at him. I was like, all this, you didn't find nothing in the car. I didn't give him attitude or nothing. He's like, what you got in your bag? I was like, poetry. Literally, I just looked at him. I was just staring at him like, this is LA. There's real thugs out here, dude. You got 2 white kids in the car. We got 3 brethren in the back. Two from Harlem. I'm from Upper West Side. My man's the manager used to be the manager for Black Eyed Peas. I'm like, like he was like, well, you must write about this stuff. And I was like, dude, I just looked at him, and he must have felt stupid because I didn't yell at him. I didn't get angry. I just looked at him like, whatever, man. After they let us go, everybody was upset. I was like, yo, man, you just ruined our night, man. They had pistols ready to out. This is like after the Rodney King situation.
Okay.
So anyway, I moved to Norway. Now the last picture I have in my mind is racist Anglo-Saxon Americans or Caucasian people who have a hate towards us because of our pigmentation. So when I was in Norway, I would get, yeah, Tom, where are you from? I was like, I'm from New York. Oh, yeah, he's from New York. And the kids everyone, adults, everyone was asking me questions. And I was like, y'all different types of white folks. I'm speaking straight. I was like, wow. And all I could do was educate them on my personal experience growing up in New York. You know, oh, you're from New York. What's it like? And I said, it's cold. It's you know, you try to be humble. You know, you don't try to be like, yo, what's up? It's like this. Because they don't understand any of that. Because one time I was like, yo, what's up? The Norwegians were like, looking up. So I was like, you know what? I better just speak the English. I better just speak the Queen's English, the New York City, not New York slang. So anyway, the reason I say this is because from that moment on, no matter where I went, people wanted to know not just New York, but who I was, what I was like. You know, of course, I dealt with a little bit of discrimination, but nothing to where the police were pulling out guns on you just because you're walking down the street. And in New York City, and I'm assuming in growing up Jamaica, you carry this tension. You don't realize the tension.
I realize it. I realize it. Because in Jamaica you have to be on guard, especially where I grew up and stuff. You have to be on guard at all times.
Yeah. So when I was living in Norway, I was like, oh shit, the cops don't even carry guns. And I was like, y'all don't carry guns? Like, I never heard of that. then I went to Sweden, and I think Sweden was like, they carry guns, but they don't got bullets in them. I was like, so each state, every country I went to through Europe, I always try to educate people when they ask me questions. It's sort of like Eddie Murphy when he said he went to Texas. He went looking for racism. And the guy was just grabbing a suitcase, and he was like, what, a black man can't have a suitcase? So if you have that mentality when you travel, people are going to say, oh, yep, that's what I've seen on TV. That's what I've seen in the movies. So sometimes you go to a place, especially to a foreign country like Japan, who's lived in this island for 4,000 or 5,000, who knows, longer, and they've been feuding with people who look like them, from China and Korea, whatever other history that's there. So I think we as Black people, they love us, they love our culture, they love many things about us, but it takes one ignorant person to make us look evil to them. And and my belief is that one person is the one we need to educate. Now, there are people who overdo it, because you might get a guy, booyaka, 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 booyaka. And you'll be like, look, dude, my father is the principal at a school. My mom is in Jamaica, people assume that all Black people know gangster stuff. That's something that we have to, I think, address a lot of times. And some people don't mean it in a bad way. They just like, gangsters? And it's like, yeah, wow, what's this like? They dead. A couple of them in jail.
Oh, bro. Yeah, I like the way you talk, man.
Right? You got to be straight with people sometimes, but you got to be honest. Look, my first day here, Biggie Smalls, rest in peace, had just died. I think I was in Australia like 2 days. And it was a brother from Kenya who owns a hip-hop shop. I'm in Sydney. What people know as kangaroos, right? Australia. I'm walking down the street, brother. I hear hip-hop, like full-on hip-hop. My ears just perk. I was like, huh? Hip-hop? I didn't even think about it. I walked up to the shop. I walked in, it was a Lebanese brother and an African brother running a hip-hop shop. And I was like, cool, this is cool, wow. Hip-hop is in Australia. But as soon as I walked out, a couple of island boys, like Polynesian boys, see me, and they were like, oh, Black guy. Straight away, they were like, you American, mate? And I was like, yeah, I'm from the States. Yeah, oh, where? New York. You know some gangs, benders? And I said, yeah. I told them straight, yeah. They're like, what's it like? I said, they dead. Those boys were like, because they wanted me to pop off like, oh, man, it's cool. It's all this and all that. But I gave them I answered their question, but I said they dead or they locked up in jail. And the other thing I used to always tell them, I said, don't think that all Black people got money walking around with gold chains and we got all this. Like, don't believe that. People got regular jobs just like everybody else. And these are the things that we need to educate people through, right? I think that's the most important. Just in our everyday conversation, I mean, if you have a platform like yours and what you're doing with the people you bring on, people outside of people of color, we all need to be watching your show. We all need to be watching and learning and seeing this, I support your movement because you always show positive, uplifting people. You could your platform, you could go and find the Asian people, you could go and find Caucasian people, you probably can find somebody from Turkey who's that's because you have your spiritual connection with humans is incredible. Sorry, I check you hard. Your humbleness. Your humbleness is what attracts it. And you be having me like, wow, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from all the different people coming from all over the world, of different countries and continents, who are of color, who are succeeding in Japan. You know, and God bless you. God bless your family. God bless them all. Because this, as long as we keep doing that, what you're doing, you getting the word out right. And then for everyone who's listening or watching, if you get young people in your vicinity asking these questions and saying, just stop and let them know your story. You know, even if it's a 2-minute story, like when those boys, I said, yeah, I know some thugs. Yeah. Oh, wow. Get their attention. They dead. They locked up in jail. Because most people got common sense. They know why people wind up in jail. But at the same time, be like, yo, but my cousin, he's a judge in Jamaica. Or he's gone over to University of Toronto to study science. Or he's a politician. There's so much out there that people are unaware of what we as a people have, had, and will accomplish. You know, we the first civilization. What Richard Pryor said? We was the first civilization to think. Richard Pryor said we was the first civilization to think. And the brother said, "How do I get to Detroit?" You know, because Detroit's a predominantly black. You know, that's a joke. But to get you to think, we was the first one with thought. You know, our ancestors created many of the societies that we live in today, but because of conquering and invasion, they threw it all out to the Sahara desert and destroyed the technology and took it over and made us look like, you know, the savages. So at the same time, we need to be educating ourselves through books and now YouTube. There's some great African American, there's one great, I can't think of his name, but one great African American historian who breaks down all the different countries in Africa, like the wars, the tribes, and I'm just like, you know, it's a new world. When I was growing up, you had to read a book. Ivan Van Sertima, Blacks in Science. You know, they came before Columbus. Blacks in Science, I tell everybody to read Blacks in Science. If I had that book, Blacks in Science, when I was a little boy, and my parents would say, boy, read this book. I could have built the...
I've never heard of it. I'll definitely get it.
Yeah.
My daughter needs to read it too.
His name is Professor Ivan Van Sertima, Sertima. Okay. He was a professor at Rutgers College in New Jersey.
Okay.
He's got beautiful YouTube videos, you know, just highly educated. And I was learning this at 15, 16 years old. But my point is that we are in the modern world. We have to, but also I think, and I'll finish off like this. I think a lot of time, most people don't know that when a lot of people, like now in Australia, when I first came here, a lot of kids from Sierra Leone came here after the wars and stuff. And then I walk down the street. If I see you walking down the street, I'm gonna be peace, my brother. Peace. You know, we don't have to stop and talk. But if I see another black man, I'm peace, my brother. How you doing? And keep it moving. When many of the West Africans first got here, certain ones, they wouldn't smile. They wouldn't do nothing. Right? And then I met a sister from a very good friend of mine who said, Sam, a lot of them are coming from the war. So they still got that tension. Now, the next generation, I'll be seeing these big, solid, 5 foot, little short African brothers, but just playing soccer. What up, brother? What up, brother? What up, brother? Total different vibe.
Yeah.
Total different vibe. Because now they've been here, they're assimilating, they're becoming part of the Australian society. It's their kids growing up now who are young adults. I see them in the park. Hello. They got kids of their own because I do my walk in the park, you know. So Australia as a country, with African people here, and not just African, there's black people from all over in Australia too. Maybe one day you come out here and and
Maybe,
interview. Yeah,
maybe.
listen, man, you come out here. Listen. You would love it. Just you bring your family out here one time on one of your holidays and network with some of the things that's happening here. It's beautiful, brother. You got to realize black people were here. Black people, my wife's people, been here for over 80,000 years. At one time, this was all black, chocolate, blue, black. It only changed when the British came, but before that, it was black. It's black to the black to the black. So maybe one day in your journeys, you'll come out here, and see what it's like. But I'm coming back to Japan very soon. So anyway, to finish up, I think that my point is that we need to. I feel as though if someone has a misconception about us as a people, we can only teach them or influence them by what we've experienced and what we know. Like the sister, she's experienced one thing different than what I have. Who am I to tell her, oh no, that's not my place? Because her experience is her experience. Your experience is your experience. So when we are dealing with people, when we first come into their country, we meet people who've never been anywhere. They haven't even been out of their prefecture. Right?
True.
Yeah. So if they've never even been out of there, what do they know? What do they know? So a lot of times it's up to us and to your children who are growing up there. I'm not sure how many children you have, but your children will speak to other children and educate them, and they'll grow up together. As long as you're living, I don't know how long you plan to stay in Japan, but they'll grow up together and they'll bond friends with certain kids who'll go, don't talk about my friend like that. You hope, but it's bonding. It's really a bonding thing. I think it's a bonding thing. Now the last thing sorry.
No, go ahead.
You speak.
No, well, the thing is, I like,
yeah,
I like listening, right? So like, I like, so I like the conversation, right? You're talking, and I'm just listening, man. So that's the point of it, right? So say the last thing you said.
Well, I think that I'm a kung fu teacher, and most Americans, they don't know nothing about Asian culture. They don't know much about Asian culture. What they do know is Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Chinese food, now sushi, like Godzilla. Like they know, we know what the media shows of the Asian people. Look, Wu-Tang Clan were like, they took something that influenced them, and RZA took it and converted it into hip hop, right? I was doing that also. But I took it deeper. I went to Chinatown. Now, I was scared because of the stereotypes that people would say that how specifically Chinese people looked at African Americans. Mm-hmm. I was like 13, 14. I was scared. I was like, oh. So I would watch Kung Fu movies on Times Square from sometimes all day. And just through word of mouth, they were like, oh, they got Kung Fu movies in Chinatown. And I was like, really? So I got on the train and went to Chinatown. Tall, black kid, we black. In Chinatown. Mm-hmm. I'm watching Kung Fu movies, and I'm looking at Jackie Chan eat certain foods, and I don't care what food it is. If the food is good, I'm eating it. I don't care. So, you watch Kung Fu movies and Jackie Chan eating roast duck and whatever. And so you go to Chinatown and you see in the restaurant, all this food, and you're like, yo, ain't that food that Jackie Chan eat in the movies? Yo, I gotta get some of that. Now, remember, the Chinese food we ate is for Westerners. Pork fried rice, fried chicken wings, right? That's the cheap shit. And then you got like the Western modern, you got modern Chinese food for like the neighborhood. So the cheap Chinese food in New York is $4, and you got $1 iced tea. That was when I was growing up, right? So you got 4 chicken wings. The Fugees talked about it. 4 chicken wings, pork fried rice, and $1 iced tea, right? So that's $5, $6. Then you got a little, like where the families go. You go to a nice Chinese restaurant. They're like 3rd, 4th generation Chinese American. But then you got Chinatown, where you get the real Chinese food. And you go down there and you're like, yo, I'm going in here. And the first time I went inside that Chinese restaurant, I was scared. But I was like, that food smelled too good for me not to go in.
Okay.
And there were little women from Hong Kong and China, mainland China, and they come in, especially Hong Kong Chinese. They come in, they hit you, right? Not on purpose. You in the way, you got to know what you're ordering. And because Cantonese, even when they speak English, sounds aggressive. It's like, hurry up, what's your order? But they're not doing it to be mean. They just, everything's moving fast. So I got these ladies hitting me, bumping me, and I'm like, oh, can I get the chicken wings? Oh, sorry, can I get the quarter roast duck, and can I get the steamed rice and the pork pies? Okay, no, $15. Boom. I was like, oh, I did it. I go to Kung Fu movies. You know, listen, brethren, when I first went to the Kung Fu movies in Chinatown, you know who was doing security at the Chinese cinemas? Jamaicans.
Okay.
I come to the door, I'm looking to see some Asian people. No, Jamaican brethren. 2. They see me, they say, what's up, my brother? I said, hey, I just come for the Kung Fu movies. He said, come on, man. We sat there, we talked for an hour. And I was like, oh shit, they got a black dude running in the front of the Chinese cinema. We became good friends there. Then around the corner, the brother was from, he was from an African country. He was security around the corner from there. I was like, oh wow. And every weekend I went down to Chinatown. I wound up working in Chinese cinema. And it changed my whole life. And no one could understand what I was experiencing because they weren't coming down with me. Only thing they knew was, oh, that Chinese food in the window, that's disgusting. That's nasty. I was like, nah, son. Well, you didn't say son back there. But I used to go, nah, that's the ball, baby. But only other people who were coming down there were experiencing what I was experiencing. Next thing you know, it took a little bit. I started looking for a Kung Fu teacher. Once these cultures that we think aren't what's the word? Aren't opening up to us. A lot of times they don't open up to each other. There is a book called The Asian Mind Game. We're talking about ethnic groups, ethnic groups within, like in China, those are ethnic groups. They've all been considered Chinese, but they're Hokkien, Fujian, Fuzhou. These are all places that speak their own dialect. So they had all closed societies within it. It's like Japan, right? That what the one man brought it all together. So when you have that mentality, you've been brought up with that. It's hard to break out of it. And that's just amongst the Asians. So if they come into a country where it's foreign and they see what's happening to us as a people or even their own, a lot of times they're going to just, Bruce Lee changed the game. Bruce Lee took on America. He changed the game, and the Chinese were like, no, 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 don't do that, don't do that. Bruce Lee was like, nah, I need to see what's out here. And I would say he'd be one of the first Asian people to break the stereotypes, to also go into America.
I'm still here. Keep talking.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, yeah, of course, but most people don't know the history of Asian culture. You know?
It's true. Like I'm just here, just listening to you, just walking down memory lane because it's educational. I like having conversations like this, and of course that's one of the reasons why I do what I do. I like talking to people and just learning from people. And you shared a lot of stuff that I think is really insightful, and I think people can learn from it. I did.
Mm,
I enjoyed it. Like listening, right? So it was good,
mm,
right? So you're showing just even your journey into Asian culture, right? And it's the
mm,
same thing you said earlier about just even media, because the perception that you had was from what you've heard people say certain things about Chinese people, and had you
mm.
just digested that and let that be a reality, you would have never ventured into Chinatown, right? So you ventured there despite how you felt, right? You did
Mm.
a few steps, and then you saw that it wasn't what people said, and then of course it's a big part of your life now where you're teaching kung fu.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's I think it's a lesson, right? But that's the thing with media, it doesn't only affect black people, it affects everybody in terms of stereotype, because
Mm,
the export from China is like what, kung fu, Chinese food, made in China, right? Japan is like anime and is samurai, and
mm,
if you think about it, right? So um I think the issue more so with us as black people is that the sort of like what's the word I'm trying to find, the sort of like soft what's the word, there's a phrase I can't find it's like soft something. That's what Japan does, right? That's why people love Japan so much, because we get I guess I can't find the right term, maybe someone can refresh my memory. It's almost like soft influence. That's not the term, but it's like the way that they export their culture is done in such a way that we're drawn to it in a positive
mm,
sense, right? And that's why people love
mm,
Japan. A lot of people have never been to Japan, right? And it's like,
mm.
what is like, what's Japan like? But we know the way that we feel about it is from what we've seen, orderly
Yeah.
society, all these things that they export, right? But for black culture, just all over overall, if you think about in some of the pictures from Africa that we see, it's negative. We think
Yeah.
about even American culture or Jamaican, it's almost like the same type of. It's usually some of the bad stuff that's kind of like pushed more so, even though the music is good, right? And then
Yeah.
the music is a good thing about a good part of it. A lot of things that come out from just black culture looks negative to people, and I think that's one of the problems. I feel like we need to, in some way, shape, or form, get more positive images of black people going forth, so people can
Mm,
feel similar to how they feel about certain societies that they've never been to, right? So if there's a
mm.
way that we can package just a full story and put it forth, I think that would be beneficial as well, right? Because when you talk about Japan, most people are just like they're in love with Japan. Even people that reach out to me and it's from anime, what they've seen, what they've heard, and they fall in love, like in deep in love, where they're trying to learn Japanese like every single day in their house, all over, right? Because that's the thing, right? So like,
Yeah,
how
I don't
can
watch
we,
anime, but I love Japan. Yeah.
right? So that's the thing, right? So, but there's something that piqued your interest, right? Something that's
Yeah.
oh yeah, soft power. That was what I want to say. Soft power. It's called soft power,
So,
right? So
yeah.
that's what Japan exercises, and different nations as well. And if we could do that as black people, right, so that people can fall in love with the good things, not like a guy in
Yeah.
where was it, Norway was it, or Sweden, that asked you about gangster.
Norway.
That was the first thing he
Yeah.
asked
Oh,
about,
sorry.
right?
Australia. Australia. Yeah.
Right. So I think it's
Yeah.
a thing that we're all affected by media in some way, shape, or form. But I feel like for black people, it's more negative than other races, right? And it's more detrimental. It's sent in our way more than other people. But of course, many of us have had the opportunity to maybe push past that a little bit. Um,
Mm,
and I think what I wanted to say earlier was that when you were saying that it's about like you and one person, so your friend, or my daughter and some of her classmates, or someone that grew up in another society, it's like a sort of like grassroots movement where it's like maybe we can't influence the world through media uh on the scale of maybe like a Hollywood per se, but maybe at a grassroots level within our own
Mm,
communities, classroom, businesses, communities, we can maybe influence our neighbors, and then slowly but
mm,
surely we sort of
mm.
like spread the word about the reality. Um,
Yeah. Mm.
maybe that's one way, and I think that has been done for a while. So yeah, right.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I agree with everything you said. Makes a lot of sense. Because you got me thinking now. For example, what's the dread that works for NHK? He does the weather.
THC, THC.
Look, that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example of changing the narrative. You
Hmm.
know, those when you put yourself in these positions and people go, oh, I like for me, seeing another black person anywhere, I'm like, oh wow, that's great. I mean, you're on the internet, you have a nice little following, you got people watching you. I'm like, wow. So even myself as a person of color, seeing another person of color doing anything and something positive is good for the narrative.
Hmm.
All we can do is be us, you know what I mean, and be the best that we can be. And I think by doing that, we let we let we let our presentation and our work speak for us. You
Mm.
know, and the other brother who's what's his name? Who's the African American brother who's got his own anime company in Japan. You know,
I
this
tell.
this yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It's coming. A new generation, a new wave is coming. It might take a while,
Mhm.
but I'm enjoying the progression. I remember when in the States you could name all 10 black actors in Hollywood movies.
Mhm.
Now you can't keep up with it. you
True,
know,
true, true. It's
they
happening.
flooded in, but the black people is flooded in from England. They flooded in from Africa into America, making films. Look at the brother who just did with Idris the for Netflix.
Which
The
one? What's
cowboy
the?
movie.
Oh, I haven't seen
The
it.
Yeah, great film. Directed, written, composed by a brethren from London who grew up watching cowboy movies. Predominantly white cowboy movies. He was like, "No, I need to see some black cowboy movies." And you know, the narratives can be changed.
Hmm.
The narrative, we have the power. At the end of the day, it's the will of the mind. It's for our ancestors, your ancestors, and my ancestors to survive slavery. It took the will of the mind, especially in the Caribbeans, because all the Tiano Indians, a large majority of them, I don't know their whole history, but they were just dropping because their bodies couldn't take. But they brought us in and was like, hold on, and do it all.
Hmm.
They survived, but a lot of that was up here. So the will of the mind can change. I mean, of course, you have to have belief in, whatever the higher power you believe in. If that your belief and your faith, that helps also. But that's why I just do the. If someone says something ignorant, I do the Jedi mind trick on them. Like I just be like, my man, you don't want to mess with me. You want education, because like you're saying, a lot of people just. I just think that with what you're doing and a lot of the people that you've interviewed, like the two sisters, you have the two sisters, um, uh, uh, not the latest ones.
No, I know
The,
who
they
Karine
work
and
in,
Natalie, and
yeah,
they
from
grew up in
Africa.
Japan. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just their story. And then I don't think you interviewed him. Somebody else interviewed him. He does. He's Black American and Japanese, but he's a big fella, and he doesn't really speak
Hmm.
much English.
Yeah, the comedian. Yeah.
You know, just
You know, it's crazy when you said that. There's someone wrote a comment and I saw it, and I think it was. Oftentimes I see comments and I wanted to read this comment too, which was it was very profound. Sometimes some people leave some really profound comments, or just something that I never thought about, or just the way that they see things, and it's
Yeah,
enlightening. So someone left this. Where is it? But keep talking and I'll try to find it. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, the thing is, I told people that people can call in, but of course you're the only one in the queue right now. So we're having this conversation. Some people said, "Oh,
Oh,
like
okay, got
you've
you.
been going on for a while,"
Peace.
but it's like I like having a conversation, right? And it's like there's no one else that's waiting anyway. So I'm just like we're just having a chat. And
Yeah,
that's
we just
why
having a
I came
chat.
on. Yeah, the way that I did it was I came on to talk about this, but however it went, we just flowed with it, right? So I'm not trying to change the world with this live stream, but we're having a conversation. Hopefully maybe someone can be inspired by something that we said and you go out and do something, right? So
Yeah,
definitely if I can
yeah. I mean,
find.
you can only like everyone plays their part.
Yeah.
Everyone plays their part. Let me just grab some water. I'll be right back. I'm just grab some water.
Okay. All right, yo. So Sam was of course it was a good conversation. And the thing is, I like talking with people, listening to people and stuff. And I understand that I came on to talk about something specific. I did read some of the comments. I did give my take. Like one other person came on before Sam, a few other people, but they left before. That's not because Sam was talking for a while. It was just because they just hopped off afterwards before Sam came on. So I'm not sure why. So yeah, so this was a pretty good conversation with Sam. There was a comment that I wanted to read, but can't find it. Well, maybe I might make a post about this one too, just to highlight it. I got to go through it and read it for you guys. Is this okay? I can't find it right now. But yeah, so
Sorry, I just had to grab some water.
yeah, so maybe any final thoughts before you go, Sam? Wait, how is Australia really quickly? Like, how is Australia? Like, generally speaking, for a black person living there.
It's a British colony.
Okay, okay, I guess.
Well, first of all, I'll just let you know. I'll be straight with you. Australia is still has a lot of old school, work hard, you can succeed
Mhm.
mentality, but it also has a lot of denial of because
Mhm.
we're talking about Caucasian Australians who themselves were suppressed, brought over as convicts, and then certain ones were given privileges if they did certain things, and so you don't really learn. They don't really know their own history, and
Mhm.
if they do, they don't talk about it. They don't talk about their great grandfather or great great grandfather or mother came over, were convicts from Wales or Scotland. I'm Australia, mate. I'm in Australia, mate. That's the mentality they have.
Mhm.
Um, and then when it comes to like my wife's people, indigenous people, that's really it's like the Native Americans. If you can think about what has happened to the Native Americans is similar to what has happened to the First Nation people of Australia.
Mhm.
So,
How different from America it is in terms of like maybe systemic racism or just like struggles as a black person overall. Is it better or worse, or maybe just on par?
it's safer. It's
Okay.
safer. Be straight with you. It's safer. It's much, much safer in Australia than America will ever be. You know,
Okay.
um, gun law is very strict here in Australia. They have their problems like anywhere else in the world. But for the new world coming in, for all like there's a big Jamaican community here. I don't know of the new generation, but like a lot of the old man, they
Mhm.
they come here back in the
Okay.
'80s and yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so they used to, throw reggae parties and Oman reggae, not dancehall, Oman reggae,
Yeah,
dubstep
understood.
and all them things.
Yeah.
See? So I used to go to the parties, we're like, oh, okay, all right. Where the dancehall? No dancehall here.
Okay. Yeah, I never
Yeah,
knew that. I never
so
knew there was a large Jamaican presence in Australia. That's news
yeah,
to me. So okay,
yeah.
cool.
And then one brethren, he tried to open up a Jamaican restaurant, and like every time I went, it was closed. So I don't know. This was a few years ago, because I was like, I wanted some oxtails. I'm
Yeah.
looking for them. I was looking for them oxtails and stuff because he was making proper. They kept saying, no, he's making real Jamaican food. And I said, oh, really? Okay, cool. But like the day I went, it was closed, and then I heard it closed down or whatever. So again, it's us compare. Australia's isn't a large population. I can't give you the numbers. Maybe I don't know what the statistics is. Maybe 9 million people. Maybe I don't know. I could be wrong,
Hmm.
but it's not a. It could be more, but I don't know because I don't know the statistics. So you have to look that up. But the population isn't that big, so there's a lot of room for growth, and it's very you got space. You know what I'm saying? You have space. You have like you got space. You would have a nice little house here with space and
Okay.
a nice yard compared to Japan. So
Hmm.
Australia is a country where there are a lot of great opportunities if you're hungry for it. If you a lot of people come from all around the world here, a lot of working class people who come here who just work, and they know that it's better than from which they come from if they're coming from somewhere in the Middle East where there's wars going on. They come here. You have people who were professors and teachers like in Lebanon, and when the wars happened, they came to Australia and had to start all over again. So a lot
Hmm.
of them own businesses, but that's not what they tell you in the media. They're not going to tell you that the Lebanese community, they own things. They're contractors. Then what they're going to say is there's a few knuckleheads running around who make it bad for the community, and then the media will go, the Lebanese this, the Lebanese that, the Aboriginal people this, and people believe it. It's real. That's what's bad about here. But you ain't got no Ku Klux Klan running around here. So
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like most of the Black American people who live here, um, like myself, some of them are like former in the service or they're basketball coaches. And I remember a good friend of mine, Nick Toff, his wife, who's I think she's from Africa. Yeah, I think she's from Ghana. I think when she first got here, she was studying and she was like, she got a job, and she was like, "Oh, there's so much racism here." And like all the Black American people were like, "No, this ain't real racism. Like, ain't nobody hanging yet." Like we all were like chill. Like it's not that like compared to what our ancestors experienced in America. We all like, we were like, no,
Okay.
no, 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 no. We all. It was funny, and it wasn't like it was planned. We all went, no, no, no. It's like you like there's
In
no Ku
sync.
Klux. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We all stopped her because I can walk down the street. I'm driving. Police don't follow me. I don't. The police don't follow me. I don't get stopped. Once in a while they have alcohol stops, but that's everyone. Everyone gets stopped. But again, there is a racism here, discrimination towards people of color. But at the same time, it's usually dealing with the police and maybe young kids or you know people who live in the poor areas of Sydney or whatever state they're in, who just are running with the wrong crowd. So if you're running with the wrong crowd, you're going to come across the police no matter what country you're in. You know,
Indeed.
So Australia overall, like yourself, you would probably come here and do quite well because you're headstrong, you're intelligent, you're educated, you know how to communicate with people. People will like you. People, because what we always say in networking is that you want people to open up their phone books to you.
Hmm.
and that means that they trust you. You've been referred to. Like my brethren, Mr. Zooks, he been here. I've been here 24 years. He been here 25 years. He he was in school for like 10 years. I used to joke about it, right? I was like, Zooks, what you studying, right? When I first met him, he was studying architecture or something. And after 5 years, I was like, yo, Zooks, what's up, man? You graduate yet? He's like, I'm in grad school now, right? And I was going, yo, Zooks, how long? Yo, you going to die in school? Like I was making fun of him, playing with him. You know, he's my boy. Yo, when he finally graduated, he was like working on it's called the Harbor Bridge. The Harbor Bridge is famous in Sydney because you used to be able to walk. Tourists would come to walk on it, right? I didn't speak to him a few years. I spoke to him because he does music too. He's producing some of my music. I said, yo, Zooks, what's up, B? I said, yo, how you, man? You know, what's good, Mr. Africa? He said, Tom, I have my own team working at the new airport that they're building here in Australia. So it's all right. I can talk as long as I want. I was like, what? I said, what, Zooks? He says, I have my own team at the new airport that they're building.
Mm-hmm.
We talking about a black man from Africa dealing with all the stereotypes, all the racism, all the discrimination, but he got his own team at the new airport they're building. You know what that is? What kind of trust that they've given this man? And there's other African people and other black people from other countries who are following in his footsteps. But the media will take a few young knuckleheads who've come here who don't have any guidance and say, yes, those African people from Sudan, they're very bad people. But a lot of these kids are coming from war, who come here. Maybe the Australian government really doesn't take care of, like they give them money and they give them a little house, but they don't really prepare them for, imagine coming from a war and then all of a sudden you're dropped in a new country and you got all kind of mental issues. So the media will go straight into them. 5 African kids, broke into someone's home in Melbourne. And then you'll get like the pro-white groups coming out. Send them back to their country. Send them back, like them knuckleheads. Be like, oh, hold on. You're not really, this ain't really your land. This is land that your ancestors took. So slow your roll. But those are the stereotypes that they'll put in the media. But it's not every day. It's just like if an incident happened and the media gets it, they'll make it bigger than what it is. And then, but overall, they won't show all the black people here working, running businesses, driving BMWs, so.
Yeah,
overall,
I think it doesn't support the narrative, right? And that's the thing. That's the thing overall. It's like people do things that benefit them, and I think if we remove race from the equation and think about just humans, just some people overall, that's how people operate usually. It's like the other is the enemy, right? And then if whatever you're doing, if it doesn't affect you, you don't really care. If it affects the other, you're like, well, that's their problem, not my own, right? So it's like it's kind of like that thing. But Sam, thanks for coming on. Just a final thought, and then we're gonna wrap up. I appreciate it. Right, it was a pretty enlightening conversation. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Just on whoever's watching, is this recorded or?
Oh, it's live actually.
Okay, but it's not.
Yeah, and
it's not recorded.
It's gonna be on the channel. Yeah, it's recorded as well.
Okay, please send it to me if you can. I would like to. I'll send you my stuff, but on my email or whatever it may be. But the last one I want to say is, we have to be. We as a people. I'll end it on this note. I stayed in Norway 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end, my last couple of months, American Navy ship came in. And a young kid, maybe about 18, 19 years old, he said to me, yo, you live here in Norway? How'd you get here? This is a kid who came on a Navy ship, Black American kid. I looked them dead in the face because I study history. I study our history. There were Africans traveling into China. There's a whole big trading between certain countries in Africa that went into mainland China and did trading with the Chinese. There have been Egyptians, they say, that have come over here to Australia and dealt with the indigenous First Nation people here in Australia. I'm still researching all this, but this is what was said. But I said to this young boy, well, not young boy, young man, I said, what are you talking about? Our ancestors have been traveling the seas for centuries. For centuries. Long before, when the Anglo-Saxons were still living in the Caucasus Mountains, we were sailing the seas. Don't be fooled by this world today. I said, we've been traveling everywhere around the world. The kid just looked at me. The young dude looked at me. So my point is that sometimes our fears can help us grow if we use our fears in a proper manner. Like I was scared to go to Chinatown, but I took the chance to go. And so for those who are traveling to Japan or traveling to outside of what they live, my last word is, some of the best things you can do is get out of your comfort zone. And that could be that could just be changing your diet. That could be, comfort food. Get out of your comfort foods. But for those living in Japan or wanting to travel, go for it. Because at the end of the day, you're going to find what I was taught when I first traveled, you attract, no matter where you are in the world, you attract your energy. Like if I'm an artist, I'm going to meet other artists. If you do sports, you're going to meet other sports people. So you're going to attract, you're going to attract what you are.
People.
You're like-minded people. So I just try to tell people, just keep an open mind, be humble, especially on another man's land. Learn the laws, respect the laws, because it don't matter. Because here in Australia, before the Europeans came here, First Nation people, they all had to respect each other's land. Some people couldn't step on their land without permission. They couldn't step on their land. They had to show each other. They had to get permission to step on each other's land. So respect and law has always been here. Man has always had law. So I tell people, if you go to Japan, just try to get the basic understanding of the culture, talking to the people, and talk to people like yourself and others who have lived there for some time, so they can teach you the ins and outs of who to hang out with, who to watch out for. Don't mess with this, a lot of common sense things, So that's my last word. Just be open-minded and do your best to learn from everybody, because we're all here on planet Earth to teach each other something. So
indeed.
Anyway, brother,
indeed.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Sam. I appreciated it. All right. You can watch it. You can watch the video on the channel. It's going to still be there, right? So even when you come off and we end, you can always go back and just watch it if you want and stuff like that, right? It's been enlightening. I enjoyed it, right? I think I might do more of these as well. If anyone, just to talk about different things. I have actually someone that I'm going to talk to, a geologist, because I was talking about earthquakes for a while and stuff like that. So he's going to give me some insights and all that stuff.
I was following you on that.
Yeah, so he's gonna come on and just talk about a few things. A professional actually. So I think maybe next week or so I might bring him on and just have a chat, right? So thanks for coming on, Sam. I appreciate it, man.
And please, off the record, I'd like to stay in contact with you off record, because your dreams, I wanted to speak to. Trust me, you got my attention.
So send me an email to info. You want to write it down? Info at BLACK.
Oh, hold on.
EP. Okay.
Info at
black, the word black, exjp.com.
BLAX.
No, BLACK, black.
Oh, sorry, BLACK.
Yeah, exjp.com.
Okay, BLACKEX at gmail.com.
No. BLACKEXJP.com.
Oh, okay,
so it's
JP.
info at
sorry.
blackxjp.com.
Okay, got it. Okay, let me get it right. Info at BLACKEXJP.com.
Yes.
Okay. I'll send like a short one just to say yo, so you see my. Sorry, so you can see my. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine, bro. It's live. Okay. This is cool.
All right. Blessings to you. You'll get an email from me. Be safe, man, and God is with you.
I
You know,
appreciate it, man.
all right. One,
Blessings.
brethren. Easy.
All right,
Blessings.
take care, Sam.
Take
Blessings.
care.
Yeah, guys. So, of course, I came on right to talk about this, and again, look, I like talking to people and stuff like that. So, look, I understand that when I'm in a conversation, I'm in the conversation. So, forgive me, guys. There's no one else in the queue as well. So, again, of course, I'm pretty sure some of you guys took a few things from Sam. I did as well. He gave me, shared a few things. Even his own experience. Yeah, we could, take some things from that as well. And I guess my challenge to, and the thing is, the audience that watches this channel primarily isn't really, maybe a very very small percentage would be um people who are easily influenced with a negative aspect, so to speak, maybe. I think most people here, that watch this channel, like, y'all have your head screwed on straight and stuff like that. So I think, but so I think we maybe, people that watch the channel might be the ones that, can go out and just, impact those who might be swayed by some of the things that are broadcast in media. And as we heard from Sam, and I'm pretty sure you guys knew this before as well, that every community, everything that we know, and if we're honest, and that's one thing that I want to come out of this conversation as well, it's like every single community um is impacted at a certain level, at some level, by media, all right? Because if I don't know about Australia personally, and of course, Sam has given me some insight, um, like because he's lived there for 24 years. We certain groups across the world, we don't even know anything about them because we've never been there. We might have not seen a book, read a book, or seen a documentary about them, and the only thing we have is what someone says, or maybe we saw a movie or a TV show. And it's like, so every single society, every single country um is affected by media, right? And those of us who have some influence in media, especially not with open internet and all that, right? Maybe, just maybe, we can take more control, put more positive things out there into the world, and hopefully we can help change the narrative of Black people. Because look, the people that control the narrative right now, I don't think they have the best interests of Black people globally at heart. And that's the thing, right? It's like, at the same time, we're not monolithic, right? However, it's like our skin is universal. It's just all across the world. So when we encounter someone anywhere, they ain't gonna come up to me and ask me from Jamaica unless I say something. They might see me and assume, okay, I don't know, he's a Black person, could be African, could be from this place, could be from that place, right? Just like the ladies that ran away from the two Black women, based on what the lady told me yesterday. It's like they saw women. We're talking about women here, right? So Japanese woman and her child saw two Black ladies walking in the nighttime and just took off running, right? So it's like they don't know where they're from. All they saw was snap. They're foreigners. They're Black, and whatever they thought in their minds, I won't try to assume, but the action was to take off running. Right. So when we're talking about the image of Black people, it doesn't matter if you're from where, Africa, North America, Caribbean, Europe, South America, you name it. For outsiders, when they see you, unless they come and they have a conversation, they're just gonna see like your skin for the most part. And then if they have any preconceived notions, we're gonna be at the receiving end of that. So right. But media. So a challenge that I want to put out for anyone that's watching this who might have some influence is the image that we control, not what other people control, like that which we have control over, whether it's TV shows, videos on YouTube, content on social media overall, uh, movies, music, right? For those people, my challenge to you is this, right? And of course, you don't have to take me up on the challenge. It's up to you, right? What if the image that we control, not the one that's in the hands of other people, what if we switch the ones that push forth negativity that some of us call documentation, which it actually isn't? Um, what if we put forth more positive images? Right? What if we change the lyrics of our songs and focus on something else? What if we told the stories differently? Right? What if we did a different TV shows that reflected the reality that we want to experience? What if we spotlight the positive more so than the negative, regardless of whether or not it's more profitable or not, or whatever? Be like, whether it's by brute force, brute force the audience to receive the positive messages and change their palette, right? Because if you're the person that's putting out the content, you have a responsibility when it comes on to what you're putting out into the world. Because every single piece of content, every single interaction has the potential to influence someone. Every single piece of media, and I hold true to this thing, and I know it's true. I know it's true. Every interaction, right? Every interaction. Me moving to Japan was a simple, even though I wanted to come for a very long time, it was this one particular day. I had a conversation with a manager at this place that I was working at part time, and that conversation was a thing that got me in Japan. Right, I was just there, tabling part time at this university. She just stopped by my table randomly, and we started talking. Japan came up. Boom! I'm in Japan 5+ years now because of that conversation. Like, we never know, like, what someone might hear a song, get inspired, might decide to start doing that genre of music. You get what I'm saying? There's just so many things, so many things. The amount of people who've actually started traveling because of this channel, like, that's an example. As an example, in Japan, other places in Asia, because of this channel. It's like every act that we carry out, and this is what I want to leave people with overall. When it comes on to responsibility, when it comes on to accountability overall as humans, is every single action. And I know that none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect, right? I'm trying to be like the best father I possibly can, the best husband I possibly can, but I'm a human. So sometimes I might not get it right all the time. I'm trying to be the best person overall. The best person that's doing what I'm doing, right? Trying to put my best foot forward, but I'm also a human. So I'm fallible like everyone else. However, the motivation behind what we should do should be positive. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, the mentality should be, everything I put out into the world has the potential to impact people or influence people as well. And then if we think that way before we do every single thing, of course we might make mistakes every now and again because we're human. But if that's the driving force behind what we're doing, I think the world would be a better place. I think we would maybe see more of the world that we want to see. Um, I'm just saying, of course, there are just certain things that we can't control. So when I speak, I only speak about what we can control within the scope of our influence. If you can't control it, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about things that we can intellectually say. Yes, I do have control over this particular thing, and as a result of that, I will do this differently. I will change this, or I will continue doing whatever it is that I'm doing that's actually working and going out into the world. But I want people to think about that, because a lot of people sometimes um, just feel like they don't have any influence. They feel like they don't have any impact. They feel like what they do does not matter, but it does. And I think if we operated from that place, man, we can make a difference, man. Every word that we speak, every piece of content that we post, whether it's a video, a picture, a reel on Instagram, a TikTok thing, a tweet on Twitter, it has the potential to do great good or great ill or harm or evil. And I think we need to think about things from that place, and produce and do things with that in mind, right? So the challenge is, if you find that you're doing something and you know that it might not be the best thing, it might not be the best, it might not be positive, and and in your mind you're trying to justify it, because all of us find ways to justify every action that we do, but that's just a human thing. Because if there was no justification in our mind, we wouldn't do it in the first place. So we have to believe that this course of action or this that we're doing is right, or we wouldn't do it, I don't think. So my challenge is, change your lyrics, change the way you document, because a lot of people say it's documentation when it's not. It's glorification. Consider switching that around. The music that you're producing, the movies, the TV shows, the videos, right? And I understand negativity sells. And my belief, I'm not a psychologist, but my belief is that you can train any palate, right? Just like someone in India might like Indian food, and someone in Japan like the Japanese cuisine, and a Jamaican person might like Jamaican food, and wherever you are, you like your indigenous food, the food from where you're from. I think every single palate can be trained in that way. So if you feel, so if the general consensus is that negativity sells, then we need to push against that and try to do something different. You get what I'm saying? It's like, whether it's, I understand the news, negativity, people want to click on it. Oh, snap, negative. Oh, snap. For whatever reason, we're drawn to that. Certain videos that are controversial, sensational, people want to click on those videos. And a lot of people realize this and people know this, so they just like produce that, and then the place is inundated by this form of content or type of content because it gets the clicks, it gets the views and stuff. And that's why sometimes, even having this conversation, I'm just like, I just don't like negativity at all. So sometimes I'm like, should I talk about this thing or talk about this thing that might draw this negative attention or this? Nah, man, I'm a super positive dude, man. Like, so like I try to like keep just as positivity around me as much as I possibly can, and try to like avoid certain things. And some videos or some topics that I might cover or touch, and I know what's coming. I'm like, oh snap, I'm going into this thing. Do I really want to do this right now? And I think we need to have a like walk away from that, especially in like on YouTube and other places, like the things that we know that get clicks and stuff. That's not good. That's not positive. We need to think more, long and harder on what we're doing, because it does have an effect on people, man. It does, man. And even if you do something and you make some money off it, it's like, was it worth it? You get what I'm saying? The cost of that thing, whatever it is that you did, you made some money on the song or the video or the book or the whatever it is that you did. And in your mind, you're like, hey, just a paycheck. But you're not thinking about what happened when this person A, person B, person C saw it, and that thing inspired the person negatively to go do this, go start that, this happened, and then you want to extricate yourself from the product of your doing. There are people like that. Well, listen, I'm just expressing myself. So I'm just saying, man, like it's a serious thing, man. There's just so much. I was talking to my wife about uh parenting, right? And it's like, so many people have no idea how important parenting is, how important it is for a person to really take parenting seriously, to understand like the influence you have, the things you're teaching your child or children. And a lot of people just take it like, oh, it's just I'm just have a baby, and it's like, okay, whatever, just, I'm like, nah. It's so important. It's not something to be taken lightly. There's just so many things that have been trivialized that have such serious ramifications that it blows my mind when I sit down and just ponder like just life overall. I'm just like, yo, how could this be on TV? Or, yo, how could someone be saying this? I'm like, aren't they really thinking? But again, as I said before, I had songs, but again, I was just a dude, a part of a group, local. I wasn't on a world stage or whatever, just doing songs. And it's just because I'm like, oh, this guy's lyrical. Oh, let me just take some inspiration from like, oh, this guy's like, like, oh, let me write about what he's talking about. And like, oh, let me try to like be better than this person, like, in the way I'm describing this thing, because you're just mimicking what you're seeing. But what if that person that had that influence was doing something positive? What if that was rewarded? What if that was a thing that was pushed in media? What if that was what our kids saw and they want to do it? What if that was it? Those are easily influenced. What if what they saw was positive and can literally something that can build them up, right? If we're talking about investing or whatever, finances, whatever it is, or just family life overall, like certain type of values, just things, whatever it is. Like, what if that was a thing that we were pushing forth, and not just something for entertainment's sake? What if we were able to communicate a certain message in a way that's entertaining, but we know that when people come to the video or they read the post or see the pictures or whatever it is that you did, the song, they listen to it, they leave inspired and they're able to do something greater because of what you did. I think all of that is possible. There's just so so many things I want to talk about. You know, just the way the world is overall, and the things that people do because of money. You know, the people that suffer. You can't pay for your surgery, so you got to die because you can't pay for your surgery. But yet still, the medical industry, the health industry, or whatever, the point of it should be to save people. But because, sorry, I don't have the money to pay for this operation, this procedure, so I got to die. I got to live with it because I'm sorry, I don't have the resources. That it doesn't even make sense to me. The people that should be taking care of people, like, I'm sorry, I got a cure, but if I give you the cure, then you won't be coming in to buy this drug. So I'm just gonna withhold the cure and just give you a medication that you gotta pay me some money every single month. You gotta keep doing that over and over again, over and over again. That's the world that we live in, man. And there's just so many things. So many things, like, we debate about so many things in life, and I'm like, yo, some of the obvious problems are staring us right in our faces, and we just say, well, that's just the way the world works. Get with the program or get gone. Anyways, all I'm saying is, look, my thing is this: your sphere of influence. Every one of us have a sphere of influence, whether it's within your family, within your friend group, within your community, within your workplace, wherever you are. There is Every single person has some influence, even if it's just influence over your own self, your actions. But please, and that's like, look, again, we're humans, we're fallible. I'm not perfect. I try to be good, right? I try. I mean ill for no person. Even if someone don't like me, I'm like, I'm not. I don't wish you harm. I've outgrown all of that. So if you're watching this and you're an artist, consider changing your lyrics. Like, think, like, consider like changing the game musically. Push the boundaries of your creativity. Try to write something that does not glorify anything negative, and see how creative you can be, and do your thing. If you're making videos and you realize that, snap, these negative type of videos sell, try to do something positive, because negative videos have a certain like influence and impact. Push the level of your creativity. You do a one positive video, no one watches it. Listen, even if it's just 10 people, you got 10 views, 50 views, 500 views, at least. Each view generally represents a human, and one person can be impacted or influenced by that video, and they can start something or make a difference in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, that's just what I want to share. That's pretty much it. Just think about the consequences, the impact you have when you do something, and just work with that. It start with us, yo. That's the thing. It start with us, man. It start with us, and let's try not to just like give some justification to things that we know aren't beneficial. Let's not try to justify negativity. It doesn't matter. I don't care what the reason is. Let's try not let's just acknowledge it for what it is. Okay, yep, it doesn't promote life, yo. We're glorifying death. We're glorifying snuffing out other humans who have families too. Let's just say what it, like that's what it is. It is. And like we sit down and we watch movies where someone is getting gunned down and we call it action films, not all, but some of them. And we're just looking at it, we're being entertained. Sometimes I'm like, do people know like what it's like when a person gets shot? Like actually like just what happens to the body when you get shot? Or what it's like when someone dies? I'm like, do people really understand? I'm like, so sometimes I sit back and I'm like, well, I'm watching stuff. I'm like, yo, how can we really be entertained by that? Yeah, sometimes when you think about things like deeply, you're just like, snap. I might really listen to this song. I'm like, yo, what did the guy just say? What if this person he's talking about was my brother? I got 3 brothers. What if that was me? I don't think we even think that deep sometimes. We just watch stuff and we just laugh. And I'm guilty too. But now like I've weaned myself off that, thank God. So I'm not like, I'm not there anymore. Well, it start with us, right? That's it. Like there's a lot of things even within the black community that we shy away from talking publicly. People say things behind the scenes, off the record, because of course they're afraid of being lambasted by their fellow man, woman, right? There's a lot of stuff, and I think the truth of the matter is quite simple. It starts with not the person that you're pointing at. It literally starts with you, ourselves. And it's like the thing that we when we look out and we say the things that we see. If we're being honest, look, if we're telling a lie, well, it's whatever. But if we're being honest, if we are being honest, and we look and we look out and we say, you know what, or look into the mirror and we say the thing that I don't like or appreciate about this person, is there any of that within myself? Am I free of the things I'm accusing and pointing fingers about? The issue I have with X, Y, and Z, whether it's within the community or without the community, can I honestly look in the mirror right now and say to myself, I am free of every single thing that that person is guilty of in my mind? And if there is even a vestige of anything within yourself that you're blaming someone else for or about or whatever the case is, whatever it is, start here first. Yeah, the Bible literally says the beam, remove the beam, and then you can help this dude or this woman with the splinters out of their eye. Okay. I don't know. I want to end with that. There's just so much, man. I think about these things all the time. I'm like, Lord, like how it's like, huh, will we ever get it? And it's a work in progress, right? I think like it's a work in progress, and we have these conversations and we think about these things all the time, and it's like, when will we actually execute? All right. Wow. If ever every person was self-aware, like really spend the time, you know. So you're not powerless. You're not powerless, right? Begin with yourself and just impact your sphere of influence. Yeah. With social media right now, anybody can get their voices out there, right? Or if you don't like being in the spotlight, you can do something within your community, within your house, within your relationships, at your school, your job, your business, whatever. And sometimes we're so busy that some of the things that we should do, we're just like, oh, okay, I'll do it next week. I'll start this time. And we just get caught up with just life and we forget to do it. Yeah. Well, that's all I want to say. Share with you guys today. Again, you're not powerless. Everything that you do matters. Seriously, every word you speak has power. Every single word. Word to do good or word to do ill. use it wisely, man, for the greater good. Thanks for watching. Peace out, guys. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate your time. God bless.